Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus, and let me properly introduce myself to the newcomers to this channel. I mean, some of you have been subscribed to this channel, so you know a whole lot about, the type of professor I am. If you don't know me, I am Afridamus, professor of Negrology 101. This curriculum have been introduced. It's been several quarters, 2 years now. So some of the students will be graduating with their degrees. So the last paper for you to not get an F is about, is racism real? Those Black America. Oh, no, white people, white America, oh, the blacks, anything. Because you see, right here at this channel, I mean, if you're coming in, please make sure you hit the like and you subscribe if you haven't already done so. In the last segment, we spoke about how, the blacks have main character syndrome. They were talking about hip hop and rap, because you see the blacks, they delude themselves, like, because they are sitting in their little ghetto, right? So whatever, for example, let's say basketball, the blacks would say they invented basketball, but no, they didn't invent the basketball. They were not in Africa bouncing the basketball. If this was native to Africans, you would see us in Africa playing basketball, because we have plenty of tall people. But they have the stepchild syndrome. You move into your rich, stepdad is home and you are the one that cleans the toilets, and eventually you elevate yourself, right? So sure, the blacks went through obstacles and they overcame, but many have not, because they've swallowed the brainwashing. So they have the main character syndrome. For example, like, they were making a big deal about, Fat Joe responding to their hatred, the rapper. They're like, oh yeah, we gotta gatekeep, as if they can control who's got rap skills or don't. So the fact of the matter is, even if they created it, fine. Have you ever seen anyone create something good and then get upset at other people for enjoying it and liking it? But the blacks, because most of them are filled with hatred, many of the people speaking, they have absolutely no rap skills. You know, they have nothing to do with rap, but because they want to identify as victims. Yes, that's right, victims. They got the spirit from their single mama who hate their daddy. I'll tell you, in the past, some of you that are probably watching, you don't understand the history here. But I'll tell you, around the early 2000s, do you know who the blacks used to blame? Do you know? They are single daddies, the single fathers. Because the process started where, I have all these videos. In fact, I'll bring it in, not in this show, but in another show, we would have to do that. How the black single mamas became in charge. Just like in the Garden of Eden, where, Eve, listened to the serpent in the form of the Satan came in the form of the serpent. And I know some are going to be like, oh, we can't talk about that. But when you look at the logic of life, that's what it is. When Eve was left alone, briefly, and she was warned by Adam, and Adam was a beta, let's be real. Eve did not listen to Adam, said, do not touch that fruit. But did Eve listen? No, Eve listened to the devil because the woman's God is the devil, right? So she bit the fruit and gave it to Adam. This is the story, in fact. Now look at what Adam got into: eternal pain and suffering. But you see, Eve, a lot of the pain goes to Eve, the woman. That's right. This is what God said. But so the blacks, right? They were brought from Africa as slaves. In fact, a lot of the blacks will be considered the first refugees. They should be thankful to the whites because a lot of them would not be in existence today. Do you know in some of those kingdoms, before the white man came, before they were enlightened, they used to bury people. I'm talking like when the king dies, right? In some of these cultures, they one time a European wrote it, and I get it. Some of you will be like, "Oh, we can't believe how dare Afridamus you talking about European books." If I don't talk about European books, how can I be considered a professor of necrology? Do you blacks have any counter? Do you? Did you make your research? No, you did not. So before you come here and start challenging me, you better make sure you got your ducks in a row. You weren't just in the position of, you know, Motisa, like pouring tea for the master, or trying to go to Popeye chicken. You wasted your time in America. You base it on, oh, the white man gotta give me this. The white man gotta do X, Y, and Z for me. So now we've got people coming in and we are studying this. We want to save the blacks. Deep down, the blacks have something they could show the world. We've seen it in the past. They've overcame slavery. Many, like I said, wouldn't have been alive today. Their ancestor would have been sacrificed with the dead king. It's a fact. And some, their ancestors were chicken thieves or goat thieves. Do you understand how petty things were back then? Imagine you steal a chicken in the village, and the village people decided, you know what, we've had enough of ancient Pookie. Every time we turn around, our chickens cannot multiply. He keeps stealing chicken or goats. I get it. Those of you that are watching me, you'll be like, oh, that's brutal. I agree. But I'm sorry, that's how things were. So when the Europeans came, or the Arabs, They're like, hey, we're looking to buy people to go work in plantations. They're like, you know what? We got chicken thieves here. We got goat thieves. Oh, we conquered some kingdom and we have insurgents. So we're going to sell them to y'all. That's how things were. I wasn't there, you weren't there, but that's how they rolled. That's how they were worse. You know, that's not a diss against you. That's just how those people did things back then. You and I and everybody, we should be thankful we were born in this era where we have freedom. We don't have to worry about getting sold or getting buried with the dead king. I mean, talk about, I mean, like that's savage. It's brutal. Can you imagine you are alive and well? They're like, oh, the king is dead. And the king is used to people serving him tea. So we want you to continue being a mortisa in the afterlife. And they bury you with the king. And then some white people came there like, hey, we need people to grow cotton, rice, and everything. We'll take them in. And they sold the blacks. They sold those Africans who became the blacks today. Now, so we are going to be speaking about the blacks today. Because you see, the blacks are trying to say they need to collect money for the labor of the people in the past, their ancestors. Instead of being thankful, being born and raised, and being a part of the greatest nation on this side of heaven, they want to say the white people, the white man who saved them, their ancestors from getting buried with the king or the chiefs, they want the white man to pay them. And I get it. Some of you are going to be upset. No need. If the class is too advanced for you, please make sure you register for the lower class where we talk about booty shaking and all that. But in this Negrology class here, we are going straight to the point. So we have what they call FBA. FBA did not just exist out of the vacuum here. So there's a very honest man called Jesse Lee Peterson. He's a Black American hero. He was born during the Jim Crow era and born and raised in a plantation, 100% black. He is as dark as the ace of spades, like me over here. So there is no bias, straight honesty. Straight honesty. So I am going to play an interview between Jesse Lee Peterson and Jamerican. Some of you probably are confused by the term. It's a Jamaican professor of philosophy, PhD. This man is a very smart man. You know, it's not like he's not one of those affirmative action black professors. You know how the blacks, they would let them into these universities even if they're not qualified, right? So he's not one of these. This is a foreign black. You know, his intelligence is real. Okay, so he wrote a book, and the question is, what do white America owe the blacks? We would break that down, and per usual, imagine the blacks could come and argue their case, but no, the same white people that they want to extort. Imagine this. The same white people they want to extort, they want those white people to fire this Jamaican, meaning he's from Jamaica and now he's American citizen, so put together Jamaican. Have you noticed I'm not using black? Because the blacks can come back and be like, oh, black is for us. I am very conscious of it, and I'm making the distinction here. So he wrote this book, and the blacks went, they marched, as you can see in the thumbnail. That is the leader and the founder of FBA, who went to, you guys seeing him around White Zaddies, celebrating it. So before we get into that, I would bring you a conversation that Jesse Lee Peterson, the man at the center here, have with quote unquote black activists for reparation. I mean, this conversation is 8 years ago. So this is for edutainment purposes. Let me do my fair use here. And I want you guys to hear this conversation, and you will, this would help guide you to understand if the blacks have any reason to be angry or not. This is fair use. All right. So I'm going to play this interview. This is from 8 years ago between Jesse Lee Peterson, like I said, a man born and raised on the plantation. He is as black as the ace of spades. He grew up in the Jim Crow era. He's none of like these fake blacks who grew up in the suburbs and now all of a sudden they are oppressed. So he can give us the real answer. So let's hear the conversation.
I was interviewed on Fox Business Channel there, and one of the things I was asked about was reparations, and that the United Nations has decided that America owed black people reparations. So I was asked, what did I think about that? I said, no way. Black people not owe anything. It's time for them to start doing for themselves.
So you hear what Jesse said. Jesse doesn't believe that America owes the blacks anything. If anyone would know, wouldn't it be someone who was born and raised on a plantation? So that's Jesse's standpoint here. So because we want the conversation to be fair and balanced, someone can say, oh yeah, you can just make that argument, but nobody's pushing back. So he confronts people and he pushes back on the conversation, and whatever he says, they push back as well. So it's a fair thing. He doesn't believe that the white man owes the blacks anything. He believes that the blacks need to, work just like everybody else. Reasonable. But, if you're victim minded, you would see him as a problem. So let's hear what Jesse got to say.
I got a lot of negative responses, a lot of good ones as well. I have with me Natasha Marin. She is the woman behind the project reparations.me, a social media experiment in which black post requests. So black people go on this site and they post requests for reparations. For in parentheses here.
So 8 years ago, before you guys started hearing about all these FBA and stuff, this lady named Natasha set up a website called reparation.me, where that's where the indoctrination began, where black people would go there and give ideas, comments. It was an experiment. Okay? It was an experiment. So let's hear what Natasha set up. This is before Tariq decided to come up with the FBA. So here we go.
Or physical or emotional help, and whites offer favor. So you can go on this site and say, hey, I need someone, an example, I don't know if this is on there or not. I need someone to come and clean my house. And a white person go on and say, okay, black person, I'll come and clean your house for you. I need to go on this site because I definitely need help cleaning my house. I'm Skyping with Natasha. Natasha, good morning, and thank you for coming on.
Morning. How are you?
All is well. I appreciate you being here. Very interesting website, reparations.me. How did you come up with this idea? Oh, why?
Well, I think the first thing I should say is that your summary may be misleading to people.
Okay.
I definitely encourage people to actually go to the website and to click on the About page and just do the most fundamental research before sort of reacting. The website is about bringing about healing in the present tense for many of us who feel like our spirits are a bit broken right now. There's a lot of racial tension in our country, and many people.
So, you guys remember the single mamas I was telling you guys about? All right, she's one of them. So, this is why you hear like black women that look like her, you would hear them say, "Oh, yeah, we are saving the black man. You know, when you get shot, we won't be there for you, blah, blah, blah." Right? So, this Natasha, probably a single mama, stuck at home with her single baby. So she's depressed, right? She probably thinks she is super educated in gender studies or basket weaving. She has no logic. So whatever she sees on TV, like let's say she sees a black person get shot, she would amplify that and make it seem like that's like a common occurrence, right? For example, let's take rap, for example, rap music. Like blacks, the way they think it's big, it's not that big. Like I live here in America and I've been living here for 20 years. Yes, there's a lot of people that listen to rap. Don't get me wrong. Country music is bigger than rap. Rock and roll is bigger than rap. I have been to rap concerts and I have been to rock and roll concerts. Like the way they think, like I've been to white parties, like or bars. Sometimes you could go there till you leave, you won't hear a single rap or hip hop song. Yes, you go to some places, you would hear it. So, but like if one black person comes in, like let's say Jackie Robinson came into baseball from the Negro League. Now, if you some blacks to them, it would they would amplify it and make it seem like, oh, it's because of them. Like they would even say they invented it, right? Or like because Jordan is a superstar in the NBA, some blacks today would probably say they invented that. Oh, like I said, like rap music, just because they listen to it, they think everybody is into it. This is why you would hear them say, "Oh yeah, everyone is copying us." Most of the time, like these rap urban cultures, like teenagers, kids from other cultures who don't know better. But if you know many white kids or Asians, they eventually grow out of it, or even Africans, other people, they grow out of that culture. Is like they leave it to them. It's not like because as your brain keeps maturing, you start understanding that like, hey, this is dumb. Like, why would you want to listen to people? They said they are singing, they talk about, deleting one another or selling drugs or talking about, baby mamas and stuff. Like, that's like low vibrational music. So, when you become mature and you're, you think reasonably, most people tend not to listen to that genre of music. But you can say that to some 40-year-old or 50-year-old black who still listens to that. In his mind, he thinks because he listens to it, everyone listens to it. I mean, just look at, like, let's say Popeye chicken. Who do you see lining up? Like they would say, oh, new chicken sandwich is coming. Why would, if you're logical, you're a logical person, why would you go and line up for chicken sandwich? Think about that for a minute. Yeah, I get it is good, but I'm not gonna line up for it. To where people would stab each other. I would wait, till the feeling subsides. I know I know the idea about supply and demand, but your average black person in America does not have that intelligence, that cognition to know that. This is why you would see people lining up. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with the reparation. Like when they say FBA is about us in election season, this election season, who did you hear talk about the FBA quote unquote thing? Yeah, on the internet, if you listen to the blacks, it seems like it's such a big deal. Just like the Fat Joe thing is. Who cares about some, you know, popular 90s, early 2000 rapper? You see what I'm saying? So, but they do. So therefore they think is as big when majority of the country don't even care about what they are talking about. Country music is bigger than rap. I know this because I've been to shows. I've been to different shows. I'm telling you for a fact. Like when the festivals I go to is bigger than this rap thing. But TV makes it blow it out of proportion. Amongst the blacks, it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. Do you know how good you gotta be as a rapper to sell out arenas? Do you know how big you gotta be? Like 50 Cent's level. You have to be that talented, like Snoop Dogg level. So all these little people you're seeing on the internet, what are they talking about? Like you gotta be like that talented, like Snoop Dogg level. You see? Yeah. So this is why, like, let's say someone like Snoop, like they're talented, they're real talented people. You're not gonna hear them engage in these foolish conversations because they have real talent. They are selling real talent. They didn't get to where they are because people feel sorry for them because they are black. No, they have real talent. But you see, this Natasha here wants to use white guilt. You notice she can't explain what white people owe them. Do you understand how evil it is? Like, imagine you're like next door neighbor to someone or the same neighborhood, and you're supposed to be neighbors. But this person, deep in their mind, they believe that you owe them because of their skin color. They believe that they are less than you because of skin color. Do you understand how dangerous that is? That's what we're seeing. This is why you see blacks can easily just go and burn down the Walgreens because they didn't build it. You know, they feel entitled to it. So therefore, if something they're given the chance, they want to burn it all because they have anger issues. They feel like they are owed. So this Natasha here is an example of what you're dealing with. So here we go.
Don't feel like they can do anything about it. They feel like the problem is too big, and they don't feel empowered to do anything personally themselves. And so the idea behind my website is that each one of us can take some time and think about how we add value to our communities. And if you identify as white, which is certainly a decision that people make, if you identify as white.
So, do you hear this? So the same people who come, they say, "Oh, everything is about race." She said, "Being white." Oh, it's a decision you got. You're making the decision. It's not because like you're white, you're born white. No, it's like, hey, like I can just get up and be like, okay, make the decision that I'm white. So this is why I've been telling people the blacks don't most blacks in America hate being black. They see blackness as a handicap. Because if somebody is telling you, it's like someone born handicapped telling you, I have no choice. I was born this way. But you that have the advantage, like you just made that decision. You weren't born with, healthy legs and all that. No, so white people, according to her, they just made the decision to be white. So therefore, which she's implying, so since you have made the decision that you're white, now that gives her the license to impose anything on you. So that's where the white supremacist thing comes into play, to convince you that white supremacy exists. But you notice the same people, when you say, okay, so are you saying white people are superior to you? They would always say, oh, no, 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 no. White people are not superior to me. But other blacks think that. They always push it onto other people. How do you know how other people feel? How do they see themselves? But they always outsource it. Because you see, when you ask people question, when you ask them, like if they're saying things, you ask them, you are making them think. Now their brain, before they say it, they would think. They are like, wait, okay. They start calculating, because deep down we all know what the truth is. It's not like there isn't too many people walking around who deep down inside don't know what the truth is. This lady here knows she sounds ridiculous. And if you look at her phenotype, she is probably mixed. One of her parents is probably white. Oh, it's like the mixed ones are the ones that come up with this. But this lady, her website was before Tariq. So if you look at all their movements, all the blacks today, the movement they follow, it's from feminists and LGBTQ. They follow like the gay agenda. This is who is shaping them, just like Black Lives Matter or single mamas. I mean, most of them are raised by single moms, anyways. So this is familiar territory to most, not all, but most. Here we go.
Then you can think about, is there anything that you can do to help those in your community who don't have the privileges that you have? For instance, if you have a professional career, perhaps you could help somebody with networking. Maybe you could mentor somebody, look over a resume.
So are you guys seeing this? Guys, remember what she's saying here. So this woman is saying white people owe blacks. And how do they owe them? So what she's letting us know is blacks are not intelligent enough. Blacks, cannot do for selves. They can't think for self. So white people have to do the thinking for black people. Because why should it be white people's job to mentor blacks? So this is the problem that's been out there. You have these radical feminists, single moms, lesbians that are running the black community. So they come up with their insecurities, and they put it on them. And naturally, if you've seen most of these dudes, most of them are baiters. Why do you think there's so many shootings in these neighborhoods? You think real men would shoot each other? Real men would have discipline. They would control their anger. They would not want to destroy each other. But these people are carrying their mama's anger. Look at this woman, the way she looks. This woman is very, very angry. Very angry. But let us hear her tell us try, because she's using her feminine energy. Helpless, I mean, that might even be an insult to women. She's trying to extort white people. Think about it. You raise your child in your home. They are all grown. You raise your child, then you now say, okay, it's people out there that are responsible for mentoring your child. Back in the days, these women, they have accepted government handouts and kicked, their men out. They used to blame it on the, useless black man, because they said the black man was useless. You guys remember Oprah was doing that rerun. They did a lot of campaign against the black man. Like, it was, I would say, over 2 decades of material in print, in visualization, just to destroy, they call it the patriarchy, to destroy the black man. But when they got rid of the black father, now look at the condition of the blacks. Compare it to when their fathers were home. They were the head of the household. And then when white Zaddy took over. Hey guys, common sense, think about it. Have you ever seen or heard Michael Jordan say he's a victim? Have you ever seen that? Even when they made wokeness popular as hell, have you seen Michael Jordan play into it? No. Michael Jordan, if you know about him, if you don't, go read his history, his biography. Michael Jordan had a strong father. He's from a 2-parent home. His father was a strong black man. Even the Williams sisters, look at them. Yes, some people are talking all that trash about Serena Williams. Whatever she's doing is her own thing. But you look at it, they are ashamed to go that walk because they were raised by fathers. Now you pivot, you go to someone like LeBron James, best basketball player, strong. He's very strong. He's got, anything he wants. LeBron James have no shame to lie, to make himself seem like a victim. Where do you think that came from? Why do you think it's easy for him to be a part of this lie? Because there's no integrity. If the father is absent, like no amount of money or prestige would remove that void. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. So now this woman, she's the head of the household. She is representing and speaking for many blacks. They can identify with this. So when people imagine the anger she has in her mind, imagine that. Now she is teaching this, telling these angry, lost black males that, oh, the white man is your problem. It's not that I kick your father out. It's not that, I chose child support. I put your father in the white man's system. That's right. And now I'm setting you up to be a future criminal. So now I'm going to use the white man as a deflection and say it's the white man's fault. The reason why I'm playing this video, it ties to the topic we're coming, because the book is called What Do White America Owe the Blacks? So I want you guys to remember, this woman herself cannot articulate it. She wants white people to mentor them. So this is why when the blacks, they see other black immigrants come here, like black immigrants, they are shocked. They are like, how are you making it? I mean, the white man is gotta be helping you. It is the white man. And pretty soon, as you know, the hatred in their heart keep growing. Why do you think they hate foreign blacks now? Because they think the white man is giving us free stuff. They were bred to believe that they are owed for things they haven't done. How many of these Negroes have picked cotton? How many of them? The blacks have been free for over 150 years. What can a white man do today in America legally that a black man can't do? But if you let them speak, they would tell you, they would convince you, try to convince you that they are in fact slaves in the plantation. They might as well be called Kunte Kinte. But let's hear more from Natasha here. Imagine black chick named Natasha. I mean, for you know what? This Natasha here looks very familiar. I used to know a Natasha, but that's a whole different story. I won't tell the story between me and Natasha, but they look very familiar. But here we go.
Maybe even take on somebody as a new hire who's looking for a job. There are many ways to leverage your privilege. So the site is allowing people who may or may not agree with any of the philosophies behind the project.
And I know some of my enemies that are listening. I don't want you to come here someday on my channel. You go and find out Natasha is looking for her baby daddy that left, and then you try to put it on me. Nothing happened between me and Natasha, if that's what you're thinking. Just to clear that part, because I know a lot of my enemies are listening. As soon as Natasha comes out saying she's looking for her baby father, you guys might be, oh, Afridamus did say he knew a Natasha that looked like you. No, I'm not the one. But here we go.
To practice leveraging their privilege, which is something that all of us can do regardless of how we identify, because privilege is intersectional.
And so is it black people who are feeling that, their spirits are broken?
Are you a black person asking me, a black person, to speak for all black people? Because we both know how ignorant that is. Like, let's not do that. I can speak for myself.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was off camera. Imagine you are a normal person, right? And someone comes, they have their own problem. You are interviewing them. Instead of them telling you what they're going through, they assume, oh, but you're a black person, so therefore you should be having the same problem with me. This is the problem here. Natasha don't want to answer the question because she didn't expect this pushback. So instead of being an adult, she is gonna pretend like a child because like most of them are immature. So you will see that here.
Like,
When you say
my experience is looking at the bombardment of negativity in the media, all the police shootings, the mass shootings, the school shootings. And if that's not getting you down, then you're probably not an extremely human individual. Because I feel like human suffering is something that we should all respond to.
So are you saying that it's black people who are feeling that their spirits are broken?
You notice how they said they want to feel human spirit. Have you ever heard them feel any human spirit for the children in Congo, in the war zones of Congo? Have you ever seen that? No. But they pretend. You see, FBA, this group FBA itself, this is an offshoot of a LGBTQIA organization because their tactic is the same. I mean, like, guys, think about this for a minute. You know, like, think about where single ladies, single quote unquote mamas are the ones that are considered leaders of a community. I mean, like, let's just be real. You know, this is why they lump FBA, the blacks, with the transgenders, the homosexuals, the pansexuals, you name it. And then you're like, no, 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 wait. The white people are the ones doing this. It's just a propaganda. Then you listen to these blacks themselves. You know, you listen to them. They act, it's like they are with this in their churches. They're like, they even have gay pastors. How can anyone believe in that? Even the very book they're preaching to you says that's an abomination. But they know better than the God that they claim they're telling you they are serving. Imagine that. If that's not called imposter syndrome, I don't know what is. So this woman, her body language clearly tells you she knows she is ridiculous. Natasha's mama is Russian. Okay? Her mama Russian. So why is Natasha over here pissed off? Maybe her daddy might be Nigerian even. Who knows? But one thing we know is she's from the Motisa tribe. That's for damn sure. But this is who the blacks are following because they want to perpetrate a fraud, to defraud the white people. Here we go.
Are you asking me the same question again?
You didn't answer the question. You went black female on me. You didn't answer the question. You went nasty. Answer the question. Is it black? You said that there are people who are feeling that their spirits
let's
are
back
broken.
up a little bit. When you say I went black female on you,
yes,
what exactly do you mean?
You know how black people.
She knows exactly what Jesse means. Those of you, you are learning something here. This would even help you shape your dating choices. Do you see what Natasha looks like? Natasha can be cute, don't get me wrong, but don't let that fool you. Natasha is a nasty, nasty, angry woman. If you allow yourself to enter her web, she would destroy you. And especially those of you that are immigrants. You better listen carefully and pay close attention to what you are seeing here, this interaction. She is combative, confrontational, rude, angry, entitled. She can cook. She can clean. She thinks she is educated. She got student loans up the yin yang. Imagine if you got to take her to, restaurants every night. Her and her, her little bastard babies. Imagine that. It's going to cost you a whole lot. So let's play more.
Females like you have a nasty personality. And when someone doesn't agree with them or a reasonable person, the black woman go female. They go nasty, just as you just did.
I have no idea what you mean. I have a question for you, though. I see you retweet Ann Coulter a lot. Does she ever retweet you?
I need you to answer the question. Are you saying that...
Does Ann Coulter retweet you, or does she think you're a nasty, lazy black man?
Are you saying that
just curious because if I'm going.
So you can see who is in charge of the black man. So her real true self comes out quick. She doesn't respect the black man. I mean, what society do you know? Let's be honest. Even in history, what strong society do you know where they are quote unquote the woman is the one saying she's the protector of the man? What other society besides the blacks? So Jesse is pushing her with facts and her true feelings about black men is out. She don't respect the black man. She respects the white man. She's just upset she wasn't chosen by the white man, white Zaddy. But she's sitting here. She's looking at Jesse. How dare you, Jesse? You're black ass, as dark as the ace of spade. Or maybe Jesse is reminding her, like, looks like her daddy or something. She is very upset. How dare you, Jesse? You a black man, low black man, challenging me. I'm supposed to be above you because white daddy told her that. But here we go.
Black female, then you must stay black male. Like, what does Bill O'Reilly have to say about you? What does Sean Hannity have to say about you? Or do they say anything about you? Because they probably don't care. Because remember, all lives matter, right? Except for yours, if you were held up by a cop.
Are you saying that?
Start that crap with me? Like, really? You think this is going to be a civilized discussion?
So, are you guys hearing this? So, you heard what she said. So, there's no individual accountability. So, she's letting Jesse know, oh, since you don't agree with me, what would you do if a white cop? So, pretty much Jesse, she's looking at a man, but she's not respecting him as a man. She does not see the black man as a man. She sees the black man below the white man. So she's saying, hey, if you get deleted by the white man, then how we get, we're going to be the ones coming to help you. You notice they can't help keep you alive. They can only match when you're dead. How can they help you when you're dead? And then they pat themselves in the back and say they are heroes. So the truth is they want to defy nature. They want to defy reality. So this is why when you push back on them, the anger, the hell comes out. Let's show more.
You call yourself a Christian and you want to start a discussion by calling me names? Boy, you should go to school and grow up. This conversation is over.
Are you about to run? She ran. She ran.
All right. So you guys see that, right? She ran away. Per usual. The only way you can hold conversation with these charlatans, you have to agree with them. So as you know, with the FBA, we move to present day. That interview was 8 years ago. Obviously, she could not tell Jesse and the audience, what the white people owe them. In fact, they want special treatment from the white people. So that's not going to work. So now let's go to the professor, the Jamaican professor, as the blacks would say, the tether. So the blacks would say, so before we start here, because some of them would come, they might come and say, oh, these Africans, they are not, they are not even black. But let's see in America what people are. Let me show you the professor here. This is for fair use. Here we go.
Yes, I consider myself Black. I'm from a very mixed family in Jamaica. You know, I've come from a multi-ethnic family. I didn't realize I was Black actually until I came to America, because there is no racial category in Jamaica where I was.
So you hear that he is definitely Black. Oh, Zongo said Afrodamus falling for this media propaganda. Yeah. Guys, can you imagine? Yeah, Zongo, a brand new person in America who does not understand American culture, is telling me that he believes he understands American media more than the professor himself. Do you guys see why I teach these classes? Do you guys see why I teach this class? It's because of people like him, a brand new person from Africa that came and found us here, but he thinks he knows the American landscape more than I, the professor himself. Go figure, right? So, but anyways, I think Zongo just liked the attention of the professor in the class. Zongo, just kick back and listen. You're way too new in this country to be able to tell me about what is propaganda and what isn't. So now let's listen to the professor here, professor of philosophy. Obviously, he is Black. So, actually, yeah, here we go. Let's hear why the Blacks. So the Blacks want him to get fired. Can you guys believe this? Because you know the Blacks say they build everything, but they have no power. Imagine they you gotta go to the white man to ask the white man to fire, a logical professor because you don't like what they wrote. So this is why they hate, quote unquote, you know, um, Black immigrants, because you're supposed to lose your brain cells and go along with their fake stories. Let's hear from the professor.
college college has become a scam because we are not teaching people how to acquire the skills that they need to survive in the world, which is part of what a college education does. It does, for me, does two things. As someone who's been an educator for 27 years, it gives you life skills that enables you to navigate the world. And it also helps in cultivating your moral imagination. It cultivates your moral character. It's part of.
So this guy is super smart. He's a professor of philosophy. He's wrote several books. So he's speaking about what college is these days. So this is why when you still hear these Blacks saying they got college degrees and they're still broke, they have no skills, because it's affirmative action degree. Look, the degrees they are given in these so-called colleges, do you think those degrees are the same standard of degree as what is being given here at the Afrodamus report in our negrology class? It's not the same thing. Because at least when you leave here, this class, you learn reality. You understand what common sense is. But imagine you say you have 14 degrees. The only thing you can show for is student loans. Now you gotta try to marry some guy and get it out of him, on of course, with nasty attitude like that. Who wants to marry that, right? So this is why you see them voting 92% for Democrats, because they can make money from that, but I mean, who's gonna hire you? from gender studies, basket weaving class. Who's going to hire you? And this is, of course, not all blacks. But here we go.
It's part of broadening your sense of understanding of the world, of other people, and it ought to build a sense of compassion and moral, right compassion, not false syrupy compassion, where we use compassion to excuse bad behavior. So to answer your question, I think college has become a scam, yeah, because I don't think that we're really educating our young people
What a
in the way that
mess.
we should be.
That's amazing. So I got to ask, you wrote a book called What Do White America Owe Black People? Racial Justice in the Age of Post-Oppression. What's wrong with the blacks?
Well, there was a book that I wrote before that called We Have Overcome, an Immigrant's Letter to the American People. So this book is a sort of follow-up. And
Oh, sorry about that. The link is in the chat, guys. The link is in the chat. Hit the link. And what I'm saying here is, Jesse is asking, what is wrong with the blacks? So the blacks, somehow, they are white handlers, white liberals that are telling them it's those white people over there that are racist against you. I mean, think about it. Just like the lady from Guinea, right? Who did the blacks run to? The same white people they say they hate. So they're doing the same thing to this professor. You know why? Because how dare this tether, this Jamaican tether, come in here asking questions, what do white America owe the blacks? So here we go.
I've gotten a lot of pushback from Black Americans who consider themselves foundational blacks, who have written to the president of my university telling him I should be fired. There's a movement right now among foundational blacks, the organization that's called Foundational Black Americans, to have me fired from my university because I have dared to say that reparations are not a good idea.
Right, I agree.
So you guys hear this? The quote-unquote foundational blacks are writing to the white university to try to get him fired, because how dare you even ask that question? So the blacks, they don't believe in freedom of speech and expression. So all they were telling us, remember how they said the white people were oppressing them? It all turned out to be a lie. The blacks are the oppressors. Can you imagine if the blacks were totally in charge of America? America would be a terrible place. We wouldn't even come here. The blacks do not want to hear anyone speak. The only way you can speak is you have to agree with them. This smart Jamerican black man came to America, elevated himself, became a professor. He's bringing good thinking. He's valuable to this country. He wrote a wonderful book questioning the behavior of the blacks, their begging behavior. You would think the blacks would thank him for having great thinking. Oh no. They wrote to white people, oh, can you fire him? And the white people don't even, like I said, they gave the blacks F-. They don't care about what the blacks gotta say. The university would be dumb to fire this man. If they fire this man from a university that blacks don't even mostly qualify to go to, do you know what type of message they would be sending? They would say the blacks are correct. Yes, he does look like Louis Farrakhan, but that's not the point.
That there are a couple of things going on. One is there's no person alive today who's a slave, and there's no person alive today who's a slaveholder. So the whole notion of ancestral guilt is quite evil. I wouldn't want somebody blaming me for a crime that a black man has committed because I share the same ascriptive identity as he does. And
you see that? Logical thinking. And you're right. You're right. You are 100% right. Yeah, Chuku, you're right too. He said, these blacks, you notice they don't snitch on the drug dealers in their neighborhood. In fact, I played a video of Freeway Rick Ross, who was a crack dealer. The blacks see him as a god, and he even have the audacity to badmouth us, the Africans. And they got that Nigerian sellout, Godfrey, who, by the way, I've joined the Nigerians in rejecting his point of view. The only way he can come back to being a real, authentic Nigerian again, he has to repent. You see? So even Godfrey is using the blacks, their illogical way of thought against them. You see how they embrace Godfrey? But this professor here that is smart, they went to the white man to snitch. Oh, you gotta fire him. Why don't they snitch on Freeway Rick Ross? Okay? Bookie's over there selling drugs, shooting people in the neighborhood, pickpocketing everyone. They're not snitching on him, but they snitch on this good professor, Jason Williams.
I don't think that it's factually correct. Most of the whites who are in America today arrived here after the Civil War. And I also argue further that the 1964 Civil Rights Act was a reparative moment in American history. It brought blacks into the full pantheon of the human community. That's the reparation that black Americans got, was the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which...
Boom, bingo. Did you guys hear this? So you know how the blacks say, oh, the 1964, we helped you Africans come here. No, it was to give the blacks independence, more rights, fake rights. It had nothing to do with immigrants. You see that? So this is why they are mad at Professor Jason Williams, because he's bringing out facts. So the white people in America, majority of them, they came after slavery. And then those white people, they helped the blacks become full citizens. Full citizens. So what else do the white people owe them? They gave them affirmative action. They gave them food stamps, Section 8. They gave them jobs. You know, like they pay them billions bouncing balls and running balls that look like eggs. You know, they give them millions, and they even get them in, silly, stupid commercials and still give them millions for it. What else do the blacks want? But here we go.
Made them, which outlawed racism, made discrimination illegal, and it granted full citizenship, full of what I call the inalienability clause, are now exercised by all blacks. There's nothing more that a free state can do to black Americans without becoming totalitarian, without becoming communistic, without becoming authoritarian, right? Blacks, there are no rights that whites enjoy today, Jesse, that blacks don't enjoy.
Yep.
So I don't know what extra rights and extra privileges one could accord to black people without discriminating adversely against white people.
So did you guys see this? The conclusion of the professor here. the blacks want extra special treatment. And there's no way you can give them special treatment without taking rights from white people. So you guys thought your professor was the only smart man who was able to see this. That's what you guys thought. The man is 100% on point. He is correct. So I'm gonna drop the link in the chat again, and I would expect you guys to hit the link and give your 2 cents, because some of you come here, you want to attack the professor himself, myself here, but this is not about me. It's about me bringing the facts. If you think you have the correct information that all of us are wrong, come here and say it. So here we go.
Amazing. Why are white people afraid to tell the blacks how the cow ate the cabbage?
Well, there are two. My observation is twofold. One is that there's a cabal of white liberal do-gooders who are quite sadistic. That is, they're a kind of managerial class that have convinced black people that they're victims, that we live in a systemically racist country, which we do not. It's not systemically racist anymore, as it was under Jim Crow or under slavery, and that they can't use their creative agency to make something remarkable of their lives, that this managerial class of white bourgeois liberals are the only ones that can help them against the evil white man. So there's that problem. Then there's the other problem of conservative whites who actually know what the truth is, but are deathly afraid of being punished for speaking the truth. They're afraid of being called racists. They're afraid of being called white supremacists. So it's a lot easier to just sit there and accept unearned guilt and to say nothing.
So just so you guys know what he is saying here. So you know how you see those white people that say, oh, the poor blacks, those are the handlers of the blacks. Those white liberals are pimping out the blacks. Yes, those are the pimps of the blacks. The blacks are being pimped out. Like those white people who come and they hate you, the African, chastise you for working hard. Yeah, those people, they are the ones that encourage the blacks that, oh yeah, racism is real, so we are here to save you. But it's not true. They are pimping the blacks out. And Tariq Nasheed, guess who he lives around? The same white liberals. I mean, think about it. The blacks are so vulnerable. They live here in America, so much information, but they still can't utilize it. They prefer victimhood. And this is what Professor Jason here have observed, just like I have observed, and I'm bringing it to you.
Or the flip side of that, as I mentioned, is to be part of this managerial class that has paralyzed black people. Black people are among the most innovative people if given the chance, and creative. Just look at how blacks survived slavery. Just look at how the thriving communities that existed on a Jim Crow and industries. And the marriage rate at one point in the 1950s, I think, among blacks far surpassed, not far, but it surpassed the marriage rate among whites. So we know that black people can achieve, have achieved.
Right. Do you guys see how good? Imagine what he's saying is when blacks were much closer freed from slavery, they were doing so much better. Ask yourself, why would because if slavery was the problem, they wouldn't have been, the people that just came from slavery wouldn't have been doing better. You know, a lot of the blacks would tell you, oh, they got land. I inherit land in the South. Who do you think they inherited that land from? Have you ever asked that question? More than likely, the person who passed that land on and got it from was once a slave. Was once a slave. So how do ex-slaves, people who were even born in slavery, do better than people who have never witnessed it? So it's a scam because we already have a proven method, a pattern. Because if you look at it, every story we read about the American black slaves, they've overcome slavery. They are one of the reason why their story stands out is they came from slavery and acquired so much within a short period of time. So their story is unique. They overcame every obstacle that was put around them. So ask yourself, why then, over 150 years later, people who came from those people are much, much weaker mentally, financially, and creatively. They are much, much weaker than those people who even experienced slavery. This is the question you should be asking. And we are here to make you ask it and answer the questions.
In the past, have look at the Black Wall Street, the Tulsa phenomenon, but we have a liberal white supremacist class. If there's white supremacy in this country, it's among the liberal white supremacists who want to keep Black people down because they have to be in charge of someone.
I grew up under the Jim Crow law back in that time down in Alabama, and I now know the worst thing that ever happened to the Blacks, other than abortion itself, was the civil rights movement. I am 100% convinced, had not the civil rights movement ever happened, Black would be better off today than they are, because they would have maintained self-reliance, self-independence. They would have worked for themselves. They knew that the battle was good versus evil. It had nothing to do with color. And had not the civil rights movement happened, the Blacks would be real Americans today instead of blaming and begging and allowing other people to control them.
Mm.
All right. So now I'm going to bring the panel in. I have Ola here and I have Lord and Principe. Kidola, welcome to the Afridamus Report. Ola, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Ola, are you surprised that the Blacks, went and wrote letters to the white Zaddy? As you can see, they want to get this smart, intelligent, Jamerican professor fired from the white college. Kidola, what is wrong with the Blacks? Especially in your opinion.
This is not the first time they'll be writing schools, universities, writing boards of medical institutions in the United States. You have to understand this is what they do. If they don't like you, they don't like what you're saying, they will protest and say they want you to be fired. If not that, they will go to your working place. They will cause commotion there. They will provoke you, just like what happened to the Guinea woman. You see, it's a shame that they said they are under the umbrella of B1. But under that B1, they actually cannot take criticism. What they criticize people about, if you turn it to them, they will get pissed and call you coon, call you betrayer, call you all kind of name, and they want to sacrifice you like Jesus Christ on your statement. And Fat Joe was right. These are a group of people who call themselves FBA. If you check the background of these people, right, you can see that they are very lonely people. They are people who actually have no life. They are leader. You can see who's actually ruling them, telling them the code, saying we all know the code rule. It's almost like a court that this group are committing havoc on society. You see, what they did is not surprising. And this side will always, for at least before they burn themselves out, this side it will always go, at least for the next 5 years, it's going to be like this. Until it might be one of them will do something crazy one day that will implicate their leader. Maybe they will pick him up. The other ones that will be running.
And Ola, are you surprised to see that I played that clip from 8 years ago? You saw that woman, Natasha, because this is the behavior of most of those, angry black women. Not all, but most of them, they are that way. That's why they are, nobody is picking them. They are angry, so if you look at it, Natasha is saying that white people owe the blacks. They want white people to help them, mentor them and teach them how to get jobs. Kidola, what is wrong with the blacks that they've been here all this time? They still need white people to, teach them how to do things.
For that month, I was not sure. I was not sure. I said the white people, they are white people, are their uncles, why they are the cousins of the white people. We can't, this kumbaya of when they come back to Africa, we say, oh, we're all one, we're this, we're that. Black Americans and Africans are never really the same. We're totally different people. Yes, they run into their uncles and to their stepfathers and everything for help, for anything. But behind their stepfather and their uncles, they're also telling us, no, we're African descendants, or if they want the big cow leg, they will said.
But Kidola, don't forget that also. Even the blacks, everything they know, even though they pretend to be smart, it is white people that taught them all that English language, math, even basketball, football. It is, look, I've been in America long enough to see when they used to show on TV, you see a white person coming to the ghetto, like saving the blacks. They like to talk about that late night commercial about the fake, commercial talking, are they saving Africa? In fact, we were seeing there's a lot of these basketball players, football players, they were saved by the white man, white people. We see it. So it is white people that taught them things, and now they're saying this is their culture. Where did they get their culture from?
Afadama, the culture of Black America is a white culture. And that white culture, that's what they're practicing. Only that they have some type of problem with their stepfathers. Let me give you an example. You see, Carton, those that used to hear Carton. I was watching on YouTube. The Latinos have taken over Carton.
Where? Oh, you talking about Compton?
Yeah, that territory
in LA. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Latino have taken over that territory. It look clean.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? When they ask the Latinos, oh, how is this place? They're like, no. It's calm. It's good now. Everything is clean. You can see where the Latinos, they're selling their things and everything. Business is taking place. But I was seeing that they would interview one black guy. He was just saying, oh, you have to be careful. You have to be this. The other guy said, this place is almost Latino owned. See, the Latinos will come and buy the buildings, right? Slow, one by one, and start occupying it. For them to focus on how to occupy a zone, they're now focusing how to attack the Africans and everything. What you're seeing now, right? This is going to be, the Democrats have already put them into this kind of perpetual way of thinking. And they don't care whoever they attack. If you listen to Fajo was pretty right that if you start behaving like this, you bust yourself it also kind of a bust like that. You don't have space to maneuver, then you become stuck.
Right.
What they're doing now, right? They think, oh, they're doing it, it's not going to affect them. Oh, the Africans are few here, we do whatever. This is slowly spreading. It's slowly
Exactly.
spreading.
Kiddo, that's what's weird because like what I'm saying, because most Africans were like brainwashed into what America was showing about the blacks. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I got here, I was very surprised at how not smart most blacks are because they were presented as smart, but majority I've met, I'm not gonna lie, like I was so shocked by
Yeah, because
like how like they're not really smart.
yeah, because you see a 50 years old guy, he talk almost like a guy of 15. You know,
And this is, I'm not talking because some will come and say, oh, internet. Many you would meet, you will be shocked at how dumb
Depends
they
where
are.
you go.
Like
It depends where you go.
Like you
No.
would really be shocked.
Let's use the internet. Just let's use the internet. Somehow, the way they attack you, the way they can actually hold on to a full conversation without not calling you
Names.
bitches, Africans, and everything.
Because they are
try
angry.
to use, they try to use a specific kind of region to attack who you are, and when you say it back to them, they get irritated. And it's not new. Even if you date their women sometime, you can also see that their IQ is more like a 12 years old or 10 years old person that you dating is somebody of about say 27 to 30 years old. So it's not surprising that the questions they ask you, about where you're coming from, or about if you don't know much about a lot of things that they know much than you. So it's not surprising. It's the way, what and how they are. That's if you look, Fat Joe.
Yeah, but you can't. Hold on. Can I say something? You can't generalize a whole group, brother.
You would have your chance.
Don't
Okay.
cut me off.
You would have
Okay.
your chance to counter.
All right, no problem. No problem.
You can cut me, brother. So what you see now, if you listen to their godfather that formed their group and see the way some of them they are calling and the way they talk, these are okay. Why the Latinos and the other ones have grown mentally, spiritually, cognitive wise, and everything. The so-called foundation FBA have been kind of like obichele. I don't want to use some kind of words because of YouTube, that their own cognition have been going down and down, and you can see 50 years old, 40 years old, when they talk, you listen to 5 years old or 6 years old. That's just true, bro.
Exactly. Okay, let's bring in Lord Principe. Lord Principe, welcome to the Afridamus Report. Lord Principe, what is wrong with the blacks that they want to say when this Jamerican professor fired for simply observing what is factual, what all smart people have always known to be true? What is wrong with the blacks that they cannot stand up for themselves?
What's good, Professor? How you feeling, man?
I am doing well.
All right. For the most part, I get most of your perspective, but to a certain degree, this mixed guy is wrong. They do
black.
deserve reparations. He's mixed, man.
No, he's black.
He's only black in America.
Yes,
in the Caribbean, where he comes from, in Jamaica, he's not black.
He did say that, but in America, we gotta count. So tell us what makes you think the blacks are owed reparation. So to be owed reparation, right? For example, reparation, the people paying reparations are the people that are defeated. Like Germany when they lost World War II, right?
Yeah.
So they gotta pay reparation to the Jewish people, like some of their victims directly, right? The blacks are not owed because they were bought. At the time, it was legal to buy people and bring them into plantation. So, and then when it was illegal, they freed them. That's what the reparation. So
but like even if you look at post history, I know you're a professor, you study. You see that post history they had separate and unequal. Then all these different things post slavery that equates to the need of them needing more education, unequal housing, all types of stuff that happens. So to a certain degree, they deserve.
What rights do white people have today in America that the blacks don't have?
You're talking about today, but before today,
Well,
they had to fight.
But
They had
we
to
can
fight.
only
Hold on,
speak about today. We can speak about today, like when.
yeah, but today is branched out and connected to yesterday and tomorrow. So if you look at yesterday,
Okay,
they were denied a lot of opportunities. Although
because
I don't believe they're going to
if
get
we're
it, and they should
talking,
use their mind. But
yeah, but if we're talking about slavery, right? When they were slaves, you don't have any right. You were a slave. You were bought, and it
yeah, but I'm
was
saying
legal
even
to
I
buy
give you
people.
that. I give you that, right? Post slavery in the 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, there was home inequalities. It was
But
separate but unequal.
the
There was
whites
all
did
these
not.
different things.
But
The
whites did
GI
not
Bill.
go when you become free. You see, when they were under the white people, the owners, the ones that owned slaves, they took care of their slaves. You know,
They
but
didn't educate the slaves,
when
though,
you
man.
are wait when you are a free person, sir, no one will spend. Do you know how much it costs to own a slave in America? Like no one will spend that much money. That's like saying you have prize horse and you're gonna mistreat your horse. That's not reality. That's not how it works. You know, like if you spend money, because owning a slave wasn't cheap. You can't just go and own a slave. It wasn't just ordinary people. You gotta have money to do that, to have plantation. So no one will spend their money, invest large sums of money, insurance behind it, and just burn it. That's not how it worked. So most of the story is a lie because no one would set their money on fire.
In terms of education, you could say that they didn't educate the slave. You agree with me
But
then?
why would you?
But I'm
Why
saying
would?
even
But
post,
if you
yeah,
have
but
a slave,
my,
why would you educate the slave? Then they wouldn't be slave anymore.
true. But I'm saying post. My argument is not they were supposed to educate them during slavery. You're trying to act like they gave them all these rights
No, no,
previous. I'm
no, no,
saying post
no. When they
slavery.
were free, I'm not talking. If you have a slave at the time, you have to remember it was legal to have your slave. Slavery was legal. So if you have a slave, why would you educate your slave? Then they would never be your slave.
Okay, I'm saying I'm giving you that. You're right. The
Right,
slavery was legal, etc. Okay, cool.
right.
They fought to get more rights. They fought in different wars to get their freedom. They ran away. They
They
became
became free.
abolitionists, etc., etc. But I'm saying post that time period, the European denied them GI bills, housing rights. They had separate but unequal. They didn't have separate but equal, like they professed it in the media. So based on those grounds, they deserve reparations. Do I believe they're going to get it? No. That's why I always tell African
Wait,
Americans that. That's
but
why I agree with you that even though racism do exist, even though they deserve reparations, they're not going to get it. So
but
they
what
should
I'm
utilize their
saying,
minds and powers and build their own cities and states.
let me ask you this: what is greater? What great gift can you give to anyone who their destiny, it was written that they were going to be slaves for life, for eternity, and then you change your mind and grant them freedom to be free to do whatever? What gift is greater than that?
There wasn't a gift; they had to fight for it. You're
No,
trying
they
to
did
imply that they
not.
didn't fight.
They did not.
They
They
did.
did not.
these
So they
people
did not.
fought in all the
No, they
wars,
They
did
brother.
fought in
not.
the
You
Civil
looking at
War.
Right?
they
They
The
fought in
fought.
Civil
all the
War,
wars.
the Civil War was fought between the South and the North. These are white people. There are over almost 200,000 white men who died in the Civil War. This is white people fighting each other over slavery.
So the
Yeah,
blacks
but
not
do you know
join
how
the
dangerous
The
it is
black,
to
North.
they were
enslave
slaves.
people?
Let's be real. They were
Hold
slaves.
on.
They're like slaves. Slaves have no power. They didn't have no power.
Can I
Professor,
can I
How
can
can
I
you?
answer
Professor.
that?
Hold
What
on,
I'm
Can
hold
I
on.
saying.
answer that?
How
Professor,
can? It's
Professor.
not like it's Haiti. It wasn't Haiti. This is America.
No,
It's
but they
white
did join the
on.
Northern Army, though, Professor.
Yes, there was. I'm not saying there weren't black slaves, but who fought, who were used on both sides, right? That this is a fact. Some fought on their master's side and stuff, but this was in their idea to put a military together to fight for their freedom. They didn't have that capability. That's just a fact. But let me read this super chat. Zongo, thank you for the super chat. He said, support from the Zongo people of Ghana. Free Ghana town and issue them Gambian citizenship. The Zongo people of Ghana stand with their plight. Thank you for the super chat. The Zongo people in Gambia are doing well. Ola, you see what this Ghana man is doing? He wants us to give them citizenship in Gambia now. And now we have my soap. 1.5 million Black American service members were marginalized by the GI Bill. Well, thank you for the super chat. Okay, so Princip, what I'm saying here, right? What I'm saying, I'm just being realistic. Let's just be factual. Like, in what world where, like, let's say how we know America to be, because we're looking at what it was like. The white people are the ones who created this place. They brought the African slaves here. They have knowledge and power, weapons, everything. They control this place. So to say that the blacks fought, there's nowhere to show that blacks fought white people for their freedom. Am I saying there wasn't blacks who ran away or some who revolted? That's not what I'm saying. But the Civil War was not a black creation. They could not put a war together like that. They were slaves. That's just reality. It's not like it was Haiti or Jamaica where they were the majority. That's not what the case was. In America, the slave owners here were way more sophisticated. Just like America is, they are way more powerful. So
yeah, but you're talking
blacks
about
did not
a beginning
they did not free themselves. It was the goodwill of the white man. They fought and freed them.
No, it's not the goodwill. That's wrong.
What is
That's
it then?
wrong. It's not the goodwill. What had happened was it's a way of progressive thinking. What they
It's called
seen was
goodwill.
what they seen it was too many revolts, and to be a owner of enslaved people, you constantly had to watch your back. Those people were
That's
more so
actually
in the South.
that's not true. Because if that were true, why would the South fight
Well,
to
you also
maintain?
had the Industrial Revolution that was
No, but
going on.
okay, now we're talking. But what you are saying is, I mean, if you look at the 246 years of slavery in America, it's not 400 years like some people like to say, pretend that's how long blacks worked here for free. But the fact of the matter, actually, I think 232 years, if I'm not wrong. But the fact of the matter is, they did it all that time. There were slaves who would revolt. It didn't stop them. The South were willing. They were willing to go to war. That's why the Civil War happened. Don't forget
Yeah,
that.
but keep in mind too, you're seeing a beginning of an empire and the ending of an empire.
Right.
The blacks, the Moors, which were blacks and Berbers and some Arabs or whatnot, had ruled Europe for about 700
Yeah,
years.
but that's not even the
During this
same
time,
era. That's not the same
wait,
era.
hold, yeah, but we're saying a progression of Islamic domination ending in Southern Europe and Northern Africa. And then after that, a lot of these whites that were coming over had already mindset of white nationalism. So their
But
mindset was
do you
already different. Hold on,
understand?
let me say one
Hold
more
on,
thing.
hold on. Do
One
you
more thing.
understand? 1 second. The people you are quoting, those Muslims, the Arabs. Did you know, like, even the transatlantic slave trade, like, Arabs have traded and sold the same blacks, Africans, for over 500 years prior to the transatlantic slave trade. In fact, the
That's
Arabs,
Eastern Africa
no, 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 no,
and
no, 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 no. They had what they call trans-Saharan slave trade before the transatlantic slave trade.
that too, yes. And you
How do
have
you
people
the people
from
they call Moors? Where do you think they came from?
So school them, Professor. School them.
Then they came. They came.
Because in America
There
they
was
celebrate the Moors.
Yeah.
The Moors
Who
were
do you think the
down
well,
Moors were?
hold on.
race
Who do you think the
traders.
Moors were?
Hold on. I'm not bigging up the Moors or anything like that. You're talking about a 700
No,
year
but you're
period.
trying. But what I'm saying,
But for the
are you
Moors,
FBA? Wait, are you FBA?
my bloodline is all American from North Caribbean and South America.
Are you FBA? What do you consider yourself?
I'm a Pan-Africanist, but my
No,
bloodline
no, I'm not
is.
saying. I'm not saying what organization you're repping. What are you? Because FBA
I'm
is not.
all right. I'm gonna make this very distinctive. For all of us, we cannot even adopt FBA as a title per se
Okay.
because
So what era?
hold
What
on. Let
time?
me
Hold
answer
on.
your
Let me
question,
ask
brother.
you.
Let me answer your question.
Let me ask you
All right.
this, since you don't want to answer. What?
I'm giving you the answer, but are you going to accept
Are
it?
you going to say your ancestors came from the transatlantic slave trade?
Of course.
So what do you have to do with Moors?
A lot of our history is in Arabic as well, and there were Moors.
No,
If you
what I'm
listen to
saying is, if the slaves came from West and Central Africa,
some of
and
them were coming. You have to.
But
There's a book
Professor,
called.
hold on.
okay,
Yeah,
what I'm saying,
Yasin Bey was a Moor, and he came
yeah,
here though. There's
but
examples
what
of
I'm
Moors
saying,
coming here.
There were
hold
people.
on,
There were people from the Mali
Those different
Empire
tribal brothers.
coming over to the
hold on,
Americas and doing trade.
Let me finish. If the slaves, majority of the slaves were brought from West and Central Africa, these are people who have nothing to do with the Moors. The Moors are up north into Europe. They have, they have nothing to do with that. The slaves are coming from, the slave coast, the Gold Coast, Senegambia, and the Congo region. So that's not Europe. So what connection
When the
do you have?
Spanish and go
What
ahead, and
connection
I'll
do
give you.
you,
Mhm.
as somebody coming from the transatlantic slave trade, have to do with the Moors?
Like I said before the transatlantic slave trade happened, the blacks that were ruling southern Spain, southern Europe, things of that nature, and doing trade, and the Islamic Empire had dominated that region for
Who
some
the
time.
blacks? Who the blacks?
They were if they weren't black, they were mixed.
No, I'm trying to. What I'm saying.
No, but can I back his point?
Hold on, if your ancestors came here,
I'm
like
trying
I
to get
agree.
to a
Hold on,
point,
I
brother,
agree,
but
right? Hold on, I agree that like the Muslims, they ruled Spain, for 800 years. This is prior to the transatlantic slave trade. Then the Europeans, they moved them. They won their territories back. They moved them back into North Africa.
yes.
The people they call Moors, these are mixed slaves. They're West
Not all.
African.
Not
No,
all.
people that are considered people they called Moors, they were slaves. These were slaves. They had nothing to do. These
You
people are not
telling me
really.
all
Hold on.
Moors were slaves?
Yes, some of them
Brother,
rose.
there's
They
Moors
rose.
all
They
in Mauritania
rose. Hold on.
and
Hold on.
Niger.
Hold on. They rose through the rank. You, as someone whose ancestors came from the transatlantic slave trade, your history have nothing to do with these people.
You don't know that. All
No,
right. I'm gonna mention some people
unless you
for you. Let me mention
tell
some
me.
people for
Hold
you.
on. Hold on. If you were coming from the transatlantic slave trade, like the Moors were already, like, you guys are hyping the Moor thing. The Moors were just slaves who fought for the
I didn't hype the more.
Islamic.
I'm trying to
Hold
get to
on,
a point, but if
hold
you
on. They
allow
just
me to
these
get
were
there, we're
hold
gonna
on.
get
These
better
were
understanding.
slaves. Hold on. So you are telling me that? So that means your bloodline have been slaves for centuries and centuries, because the Moors were slaves. These are mixed people. They were slaves.
No. A lot
Can I
of
say something real quick?
Europeans were concubines of the
They still
Moors,
exist, sir.
and they
You
were
can
sold
go
into
check
the
their
Moorish.
history. They are
But
people who are
but
related.
Alpha
Let me. Did you?
Can
There's
I
a
say
book
something?
by Eric Williams. It's called From Columbus to Castro.
Have you ever heard
Then
of
you
the?
have another
Do you
book
know what
by
the
Ivan
Amazigh
van
is?
Sertima.
Do you know?
The Golden Age of the Moors. He
Do you
talked
know
about the trade and the movement between the Americas and the Mali Empire
that never
and the blacks
happened?
going back and forth.
That never
You
happened. That's
No,
fantasy.
but
that never
can I say
happened,
something?
No, that never
brother. That's
That's not
an
happened.
so.
Islamic text.
That
That's
never
an
No, hold on,
happened.
Islamic writing.
but
Look,
When
but
you go to
Alpha you,
Timbuktu,
look,
they have manuscripts of that, brother.
look. Prior to 1492 and beyond, prior to 1492, the continent today they call America had nothing, no connection with Africans. Zero. There's no evidence.
I'm not saying that.
Okay,
I'm
so
trying to. What I'm
hold
saying is,
on. So therefore, if that didn't happen and your ancestors came from West and Central Africa, where did you get the more thing from?
I'm telling you that there were some blacks in the Americas before the transatlantic slave trade.
There's
Now,
no
due to
proof
the
of
fact,
that.
hold on. You gotta let me talk for real quick,
Where
brother.
did this black live?
Now, if you go to Colombia, if you go to Panama, if you go to Mexico, there's plenty of black people there in
Yeah,
the Central Islands.
the blacks in those places were brought from Africa. That's all
Not all
recorded.
of them.
Cuba.
Not all of them.
Oh,
Wait, you mean to tell me
all
there's
right,
black
but
people everywhere you go in this world, but when it comes to America, there was never black people there?
this is recorded, sir. This is like after 1492. You can't argue this.
Yeah,
This
but
is
Christopher
well
Columbus
recorded.
said
It's
he
well
already seen
documented.
black people there. Christopher
Look,
Columbus said he seen
look,
melanated
look,
people when he arrived. He
look.
thought he
I've
was
read.
going to India,
Look.
and he wasn't going to India. He
Oh,
ran
okay.
into the Americas.
So why was Columbus confused? Why did he think he was in India? Are Indians blacks?
He thought he was in India, but he
Yeah.
wasn't in India.
Okay, what I'm saying, do Indians and Africans look the same?
At that time, India was an Indian was synonymous. You can, hey, I'm quoting scholars. I'm quoting scholars. I didn't say I'm Indian,
Wait a
but
minute.
from a scholarly.
Hold on. Let me ask you this. Why? Because Columbus at the time he's been to India already before, right? And
Okay.
guess what? He's also been on the coast. Mind you, Europeans, like you can go look this up. Like some of the first castles, like the Dutch, the Danish, they were already in the Gold Coast area, Gambia.
Exactly.
You can read
Exactly.
this,
No
right?
problem.
In 1432. So they already know, they know what an African is and what an Indian is. So why would Columbus end up in a place and be confused?
Have you seen
Hold
Dominicans?
on,
Have you been to Trinidad?
hold on. Why
Have
would
you seen the
Columbus?
Arawaks, the Caribs, the
Hold on,
the Dominicans?
Let me finish. Why was Columbus confused then? You know, and confuse these people as the people in India. Why?
Dr. John Henry Clark wrote a book on this.
No.
He
I'm
he
asking
touched
you
on that
because look, let's forget about where's
because
Dr.
like I said before,
where's
they
Dr. Henry
they
Clark? Where's
thought
he at?
they.
Where's that Dr. Henry Clark?
That's a trick question.
Where's he at?
That's a trick question.
No, I'm asking you. Where's he at?
Dr.
he
Clark
passed
passed
already. He
away
passed.
decades
He
ago.
passed away.
He died.
But there's
I rest
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Clyde
my case.
Winters.
Hold on. I rest
Dr.
my
Clyde
case.
Winters.
Let me finish. We are here, right? Okay. Do you know what Indian from India looks like? Even the
They,
dark ones?
they might be darker than you and me. They're very
Okay,
dark.
but fine. Let's say you see a dark Indian, right? Darker than me. Would you confuse them as an African? Would you confuse me with a dark-skinned Indian person?
That depends. That depends on
No.
we're talking about now. Hold on. Brother, you can't ask me a
hold on.
question and not let me answer the questions,
So
brother.
you are telling me you've seen those
You keep
dark-skinned Indians,
asking
right?
me questions and
Wait.
you giving answers to your own questions.
No.
You gotta let me talk, bro.
I'm asking you.
Now,
So
I'm telling you.
So
After
have
that,
you
you
ever seen
argue.
a dark-skinned Indian and you confuse them for African?
No.
Okay,
I'm
so
telling you,
okay.
back then, the Indian, when they say Indian, it was basically almost synonymous with of African phenotype or
Okay.
African
That's
look.
not true.
Okay,
That's a
Afrodamus,
lie.
please.
That
Afrodamus, can
ain't.
you Google?
That's a
What you mean
lie.
that's not true?
No, that
Hold
is
on,
a,
What you mean
that
that's
is
not
a
true?
that is a
Afrodamus,
lie.
please. Afrodamus, please. Can you Google
Avodamus,
the
can
native?
we
Let me
go to
let me
the
let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you
Hold on,
something,
hold on,
brother.
hold on, hold on.
That's
Hey,
not
hey,
true.
hey,
Hold
hold on,
on,
hold on.
hold on,
Hey, hey,
hold
hey,
on.
hey, don't come
Let,
with prison talk here. Please,
Indians,
hold on,
sir,
hold on.
stop it.
I want
Indians don't
Afrodamus
look.
to
wait,
They
wait,
Google.
wait,
don't
No,
look
wait.
African.
Who is that? Who is
you,
that?
you
Who said
Avodamus.
ask
prison talk?
Afrodamus. Hold on. Don't come with this confusing talk. This is a mental illness.
Avodamus, I
I
don't
will
need to
ask
talk on this
Afrodamus.
channel, please.
I
Yeah,
will ask
I don't need
Afrodamus
to
I'm
to
talk
Hold
on
on,
very
this
hold on,
channel.
hold on,
straightforward,
hold
my
on,
guy.
guys.
I don't
One
know what you're
second.
talking about.
Hold on, guys.
I
One
will
Yeah,
ask
second.
Afrodamus. I will ask
Hold on.
Avodamus, some
Afrodamus
of
to
us need to talk on this channel.
hold on. Afrodamus, can you Google the native Jamaican Indians?
I already know the Arawaks. I know what they look like. They
Yeah,
don't look no African.
bring out. Because when you give these guys too many space, they go around and whatever you talk to somebody, you talk about Mali Empire. This guy from Sonike, they occupy the history of Mali Empire. You talking Afrodamus is from that history. You understand me? These are the Sonike. You know what I mean? So
That's a
don't
big
come in,
place. That's a big
don't come.
place
Hey,
with
hold on,
millions of people.
don't come and give person here this
That's
mental
millions
illness
of
of
people.
talk. Please. We're not here with this. We don't understand this kind of brain. And now, hold on.
You don't even know what you're talking. He's
Okay,
asking a
so
question. If he allows me to give him answers to the question on how the people in the Americas end up to be the people who they are, then we could get somewhere. I'm trying to say that there were some blacks there already before the transatlantic slave trade. Now to the fact that a lot of us came from many different parts in West Africa is mass confusion. It's over 2,000 dialects spoken on the continent of Africa. So how you gonna have you talking about how we gonna have unity? Oh, these people are not unity. How you gonna be united when somebody's from Nigeria and then the other person is from the Congo and they speak different dialects? That's mass
Can I answer your
confusion
question, bro?
already in
Can I
itself.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, as a student at Afrodamus, the white man gave you the term black, which kind of minimizes all the different tribal elements and unites you
For
under the concept of black.
for,
So under the
for
concept
this
of black, all
time,
the different
for
tribes are
this
supposed to be
time in
more united, or Negro,
uh-huh.
or whatever they used to call you before. So in the sense that I'm not gonna say you're supposed to, but there's a level of a level playing field. And even if you look at in the past, you guys were more united in the 1920s and 1930s and 1940s than you are today. So in many ways, it's true what you said. There's a guy named Yasin Bey. That's who Maz Def changed his name to. He was a Moor. So there's proof of Moors being here.
Well, I'm
But
not really
look,
her,
look.
supportive of the
Let me,
Moors.
let me, let
I
me.
just
Hold
brought
on,
it
hold
up
on.
to
Let
no,
me
but
make a
it's
explain
point.
proof that
something.
they were
Hold
here.
on,
But it's
guys. Hold on,
go.
guys. 1 second. Hold on. Are you guys seeing what the Arawak Indian looks like? You guys see this?
No, I don't see it.
Are you guys seeing the image in the screen?
Oh yes, you can see the way they look like.
Are you
You gotta
guys seeing it?
enlarge it. Click one and enlarge it.
Hold on. Okay, let me
So
tell you
so
guys
so
how the.
okay. So you want to pick out one point.
No, there's
If
plenty more. See,
there's
there's
plenty
plenty
more,
more.
and then
See,
there's the Olmecs as well. All right.
look.
What about the
Here,
Olmecs? Let's
hold
pick
on.
out the
Hold on.
Olmecs.
Here's what I gotta say.
Let's pick out the
So,
Olmecs
so let me tell you how
Central
the more thing came
America.
about, how this became popular. If you look at those 5%ers, because there was a story of a man like who they believe he's from royalty, right? He was a Muslim. And this has happened during slavery. It's not like every slave that came here to America, wasn't free. There were some people who were brought there from royalty. And like Ayuba Ben Suleiman, let me show you what he looks like. He sued because he's from royalty and he himself was a slave trader in the coast. But they sold him into slavery and he became free, right? So when you look at the Moor thing, there was a Moor. So like the guy wore the fez hat and all from Morocco who was a Muslim who eventually someone came and found him that he's a Moor. He sued and he won his case, right? And he became free in slavery. So the other blacks, the slaves, started spreading this idea. It became a thing where they were lying and imitating that they were slaves. They were Moors. They were Moors. That's how this story became popular, because they thought that would free them too, because they didn't know any better. It's not like they were bringing Moors over here. It's just Muslim guy who was called a
That's
Moor.
I
It's not,
understand,
so it's not real. Just
but
like the
but
FBA
that's not
thing,
my
it's not
argument.
real.
My
Okay,
my
you know what?
argument
Here's what I want you to argue about.
that
Do white
uh,
people owe the blacks?
they let me get to that.
No,
What I'm
no, let's
saying to
get to that
you,
because other people want to talk.
yeah, but you gotta you not letting me talk. You
No,
saying what you
no, go
say, then
ahead.
you give your
No, let's
answers.
let's stick with the topic. Can
We are
you?
on the topic. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
let me show you. This guy, Ayuba Ben Suleiman. He came from a kingdom around Senegal area. Used to be called the Bondo Kingdom. Okay, he worked for the African what is it, the African Royalty Company, the slave company. They were buying and selling slaves from out of the Senegambia region. So he's a fuller. They used to go and raid some of these Mandinka kingdoms, and they would sell their people into slavery. So they revenge, like those people plotted and revenge, they form of revenge against him. They capture him and his men. So what they used to do back then, they would shave your head off, like your eyebrows and everything. No one would recognize you, to sell you into slavery. But Ayuba, since he was educated, not all the people who were brought into slavery were like ignorant. So, which makes sense. He was educated and he eventually freed himself. This is all recorded. His court case is there. You can
Yeah,
see
some
him
people were
right here.
prisoners of war. Some
So,
people
so,
were
so
prisoners of war.
this is who you see this. This is who Ayuba is right here. He was one of the people they called a Moor as well. His court case is there. They brought him to Maryland, where he freed himself. He went to court and became free. You see this? They even wrote about him. They call it the fortunate slave. So this is where this idea came from. The blacks, this is not a new thing, because it makes sense. It's like they are slaves. They don't know anything outside that world. So when they see someone they think is the same condition as them, but he has different intelligence, whatever they heard, that person was free from it, they were stealing the identity and calling themselves that. But that's not who they are.
Well, let me ask you this: were they prisoners of war or enslaved because of
Some
their
of them were not.
name? Be,
Some were just thieves. Some were just people who their
hold
family
on.
were
Yes,
embarrassed
but
by. Some were kidnapped.
let me just say the full question: because of their names, or what part of Africa were they from, or their phenotype and how they looked?
What do you mean?
Were they enslaved because of their phenotype?
No, slavery was just like it back in
So
those
it
days.
just targeted black people
It had
for no
nothing.
specific
No,
reason?
it had nothing to do with skin color. It had everything with where they could get the cheapest labor, and where the cultures where slavery was accepted. In Africa, on the West Coast, like slavery was accepted before the Europeans even got there. Some of the people who sold into slavery, they was enslaved for centuries, even for 500 years before the white people came. It was passed on. They were being sold in African markets. So the first big break some people, their bloodline, even received is when they were bought by white people and eventually freed when white people abolished slavery. But for some people, some people, their bloodline have been slaves for over 1,000 years. You have to remember, no one knows how long slavery was there before even the Arabs even got there. But slavery was a thing, like not only in Africa, all over the world. But it was like deep there in
So
Africa.
so African slavery was to dehumanize someone,
No,
and
it's
then
not dehumanized like that's how, like today in our standard, just simply even owning somebody is dehumanizing. We can agree on that, right?
well,
Just
I mean,
simply
if
owning
you talk,
someone.
if 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 somebody owes you or they're in debt to you, as if in African culture,
No, but
would
what
you
I'm
say that
saying
that's
is,
different from a
no,
Eurocentric
no. Let's.
or Arab mindset?
What do you mean? Say that again.
Would you say enslavement from an African towards an African in Africa perspective is different from a European or
No,
an Arab
look,
mindset?
sir. If I bought you, whether I'm African or I'm, you know, Eskimo, I bought you. I own you.
You mean
It don't matter. Like if I
it
bought
doesn't
you,
matter.
you are my
Okay,
property.
so when you see other black people go through and deal what they do, especially in Islam, by the hands of a non-black person, you mean to tell me that, hey, that's just slavery. That's how it goes.
Yes, yes. If they bought you, they own you. Just like if the African had bought you from the African market to
So
go sacrifice you to their God. It's no different.
so enslavement is just enslavement. There is no
That's what
distinctive.
they used to do. That's how the world was. It was evil. That's why they stopped it. Like people should not be owning people. But like we can't change the history. Like you trying to escape your slave, coming from the slaves from Eastern, from Central and West Africa, you cannot just wish yourself out of it. This did happen. It's all recorded.
Well, it happened everywhere, but I kind of disagree with you on the enslavement is enslavement. If
No, but
another
no,
people
I'm
tried
just
to
telling you
rid
that. No, hold on.
these
This is
people
not.
tried to rid black people from the
Look,
Americas off of human timeline. They
look.
that they did. We
What's it?
didn't die. We
What's it?
survived.
Hold on. What's it? I don't know what you're disagreeing with. What I'm saying is, this is
Mhm.
not my idea. I'm telling you, this is how it was. That's what they used to do. So it's evil. So they had to abolish it. I'm not telling you like saying, no, this is my idea. I support it or not. I'm just telling you that's what this is what the world was like back then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it was. Like I'm not agreeing with it. Obviously, like I feel lucky that this is the era we are in. Like I don't want to be living in an era where you can just buy and sell humans. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah. So my
Let
point
let
is
me let,
you're still a
and let me
slave.
touch to.
What I'm saying, if
Mhm.
if an African buys you, you're still a slave. If an Arab buys you, you're still a slave. Someone bought you. They own you.
But but when it comes to non-blacks, they have a distinctive mindset towards the African. Can we
Who
agree on that?
cares? They bought you. I mean, like,
No,
I
but
mean, like
what
Afrodamus,
some
I'm
people.
what do you
Please.
mean?
Can
Who
somebody else
cares,
talk? This guy came here to just. Can somebody else give it to
Yes,
the
let's
next guy?
bring in Kedo. Kedo
brother?
was
The
waiting.
brother the brother asks a question. We just build him, brother. You
Hold
can
on,
get
hold
Yeah,
on,
into the
hold on. We'll bring
conversation
yeah,
you
if you
in.
want
yeah.
to.
Let's bring in Kedo. Right,
That's
Kedo.
another person talking. Yes.
Kedo, what do you
Uh,
want to add on to from the clips you saw? The FBA, they want the Jamerican professor fired for writing the book asking, what do white America owe the blacks? And he said they don't owe them anything. What do you want to say? What is it about the blacks if they're, what's wrong with them if they're
uh,
so strong and they built
uh,
their own institution? Why do they have to run to the white man who don't want to give them reparation to say, fire this man for questioning reparation?
you know, I've said it last time on the channel here. I was talking about FBA, and I said that FBA's it's not only about FBA, right? But any group of people. No, everybody in this world, one way or the other, when you notice that you have something to learn for another person, humble yourself to learn. That's one of the things I think FBA need to do to, when FBAs need to learn to be humble, especially
Y'all can't
like sometimes.
generalize. You can't.
Wait
It's
a minute.
too many leaders that
Wait,
said that
wait,
the
wait,
same thing
wait,
what
Hold
that
wait,
on,
wait.
professor
Wasiri,
said.
All the
Wasiri, let the
problem.
man
You heard
talk.
what I
He
said?
didn't hold on, he didn't interrupt
Wait.
you. Let him talk. You have
Yeah,
the
but
chance
y'all
to
The number one.
generalizing.
The,
I
Hey,
don't
if you talk,
generalize
hey,
with all
if you
Africans from the
if you
continent.
hold
talk
on,
the next time, you'll
That's
be kicked
not
out.
that's not
hold on,
correct.
Wasiri. Let the
I'm not.
man
I'm
talk.
not.
He didn't
Uh,
interrupt you. Let him talk. You would have the chance to rebut it. Go ahead.
all right. So, first of all, I'm not trying to put down FBA, or I'm not trying to put down anyone. One thing I've noticed is anytime FBAs and and all of black people meet up, I notice this energy, that this vibe, like trying people, like you're trying to show who's superior. I don't know where that particular thing came from, but it is very wrong.
I don't know either.
We should try to. Yes, so I've noticed that. Like I've noticed that sometimes you see, like whenever FBA person and another black person meet up, there will be this kind of struggle vibe to show that who's better or who's superior, and it to me is not a wise thing. First of all, those things, some of those things were
Maybe
things that
because the blacks have low self-esteem for being slaves. Maybe that's the reason.
No,
Do
it's
you
not,
think?
brother. I'm gonna
Hold on,
tell
what's
you
it? I'm
why.
talking to
Okay, okay,
Kato.
okay, okay. Go ahead.
Kato,
Go ahead.
maybe is it because maybe
yeah.
they feel like they are the stepchild in the white man's world? Came here as slaves. They didn't invent, anything. Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, it could be, and secondly, it could be that because they think that we look down upon them or some other thing, but it is not the case. The thing is this: all FBAs, as like whenever like you always talk of unity, 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 and not just but most of the time, I've interacted with some other FBAs. Sometimes they will talk about unity, 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 unity among all black people around the world, but people cannot unite without
Don't
understanding.
fall for it. It's a trick.
Yeah. And anytime, and let me give an example. When you
So
put bunch
people are
of
not
things together,
genuine in their Afrodamus. People are not genuine when they want unity and they say so, or they
What
don't
are we?
have,
What are we
first of
uniting
all,
on?
or they don't have the
can you give me a chance?
institutions to
Hold on.
go
What's
to.
it? What's it?
Well, I said you give me a
Can
chance. Let
you
me just.
can you
I
can
will
you
soon
let the
finish.
man
I will soon
talk?
finish. I will soon finish. I just want to just pull something, some very key points. Uh, when you put bunch of things together, like you put fire and you put hairs, you put fire, you put ice together, you put ice, fire, and hair together, all those different. I'm just talking about things that are opposite to each other. Let me just say fire and ice. When you put fire and ice together, can they ready, and can the ice help the fire to get to enlighten? No. It will make, in fact, the ice will either off the fire, or the fire will cause something else to the ice. If the fire will either melt the ice. So that's the same as people who don't have the same understanding. That's why I'm a Christian, and the Bible says light and darkness have nothing in common. So whenever a person, a group of person, before I say that, I just want to bring this out first, because I always talk of unity. Whenever a person is preaching for unity and there is no better understanding, and like, then there cannot be any form of unity. The reason why we usually come on this platform is to help each other to share knowledge, right? So if FBAs want us to be together, they should humble themselves too and try to realize that there are some things they need to learn, and they need to humble themselves and let others who know what they don't know to teach them.
True,
And,
true, true,
and
true,
also Africans too, yeah, and also Africans too have some things to learn too from FBA as well. So
true, true, true.
yeah. The problem with the FBAs in America is very straightforward. And the number one problem there is this: FBA need to like FBA need to seek knowledge. Africans around the world need to seek knowledge. But let me put it straight towards FBAs. FBA need to look for knowledge. FBAs are they are smart people, brilliant people. Those are people who came out, who produce some of the best of music around the world that everybody like around the world. That don't people don't make beautiful musics like that. Dumb people are not the best in sports like that. In fact, sports is not the major thing about sport is not only strength, it's also about IQ. So these are very brilliant people, just like Africans, just like other race of people, right? But FBAs need knowledge. And one of the major knowledge that FBA need to get and very straightforward is this. No two captains do not run the same ship. Even if white people disappear from that place and you have other race of people on that place, there will still be the people you guys will still be
If white
struggling
people are
to
not
show.
here, it would be a third world country.
Yeah. And if white people
Right.
disappear
I
from
agree.
if white people disappear from America, there will be for competition for ethnic dominance to show which one of the ethnic group will dominate in America.
It's just
Because
like
all
in their
around the world,
hood, just in the black
yes.
hoods. America would turn into a hood like Baltimore
Well,
and all that.
it's like that in
So
Africa too. In certain parts, there's
like
many
so
tribes fighting with each other.
What city? Why
for
are you keep
example,
interrupting?
You
all right,
said something, so I gave you an answer.
Waseri,
But
Waseri,
I agree
yeah,
with you,
so
brother. From what you're saying, I feel that we
yes,
need
so
institutions to understand and
mhm,
learn each other more. I feel that there are
yes,
not too many blacks in the Americas that know much about the Caribbean islands or Latin America or even the continent. I do not run into many Africans or black people, so to speak, that I can have these type of conversations with. I feel that if we have the institutions, the finances to back these institutions, to have think tanks and have like a rites of passage, so to
But how
speak,
can you have a
like we
think
do.
tank if you're not a thinker?
Well,
We're
Freddie,
talking. Are we talking
they don't
about the
care,
thinker?
brothers. They don't
What,
care,
what,
brother.
How do
yeah.
you
yeah,
gonna
so
have a think tank if you can't think?
Well,
we need
we had a lot of scholars who came and put the
Okay.
blueprint down for us to follow after. Let me let you
But
know about
hold on.
one.
But you've already spoke. You know, I still got a couple of speakers. Kedo, I'll get back to you in a sec. Let's
Well,
bring
Cato just mentioned something
happy
that we should
holidays.
all build on, and I agree with him.
Okay, you
And
know,
I'm just saying that we need institutions, but
well,
we
you
need
gotta
the
stop.
funding.
Here's the thing: you gotta stop interrupting. I'm gonna make Kidola the
Some of you
co-host.
guys
Yeah,
have biased approach, man. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm going to speak here real quick. Let's bring happy holidays. Go ahead. Go ahead, happy holidays. Unmute yourself.
Hello, Afrodamas, are you talking to me?
Yes. Do white people owe the blacks anything? Keep speaking. I'll be right back.
They're all one and the same. Do not get involved in their dynamic. Do not. Never get in between the dynamic of a slave and a master. You will never understand their dynamic. Everybody, if you are not white America or black America, whatever they call themselves, FBA, AJOS, it doesn't matter. You are not them. You are not them, and they are not like us. Whatever goes on between them, whatever conflict, never get in between. They will go back and forth with each other. At the end of the day, they always come back and collide. They are family. Literally, Black America, on average, has one great grandparent. Slavery is not a long time ago. The boomers, their great grandparents, the Black American boomer, their great grandparents and grandparents, some of them were slaves. They were
Yeah,
So let me happy holidays. Let
hold
me
on.
ask you this. Happy holidays. Are you surprised? Are you surprised to see that the blacks, they writing to the white college university that they didn't build, by the way, and many of them can't even enter, because if there's no affirmative action.
Can
But
I
here,
add to
this,
her point?
can I finish talking? So the professor
That
came all the way from Jamaica, smart man. He's a professor of philosophy. He wrote his book. And, now the blacks are upset. FBA, they said they want him fired for daring to, even write this book about what white America owe the blacks. But he's saying you are already free. What else do the white man owes you? Are you surprised by the type of hate they sending towards this man's way?
Of course, I'm not surprised. That's just a typical characteristic. There's
who's
always
hating it?
that
Who
aggression will always be there.
who has a problem with it? Is it academia?
No, you the blacks. Well, not
Uh,
the regular, because most regular blacks don't read.
well, I'm
But
saying
it
who had
might
a
be
problem with the book? Was
well,
it black academia?
well,
The boule
the
class, the
boule,
boule
the
class.
race
It's
hustlers.
going to be upper echelon black liberals.
Yes, the ones that
Ah,
read books.
The ones who get invited to
Yeah,
the Congressional Black Caucus
right.
Christmas party.
are,
Because
are
those
most of
are the
those
ones
people
that.
FBA?
Hold on. Who's
Of course
speaking
they will
here?
be FBA. Yes, they will be.
Hold on.
So okay,
Happy holidays.
okay.
Are you done with your point? Are you done? Okay, let's go to JB. JB, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the United States,
What part, sir?
the Midwest,
Midwest. Chicago?
around that area, not Chicago though.
Nebraska?
Ohio.
Okay. So, sir, JB, let me ask you this. Are you surprised? Are you one of the FBAs? Would you consider yourself a FBA?
I'm not sure, but I do have ancestry that goes back to the 1700s.
So
Some
you're
white
one of
people
the
in there.
so you're one of the blacks, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So do you subscribe to this idea? Are you surprised that your fellow blacks want to have a smart Jamaican Jamerican who's a professor, put in a lot of work? Your people are saying he should be fired, which, by the way, you guys had to go beg the white man. The white man built that university. It's not a black one. So you guys want him fired. Are you, what do you want to say to that? Like, why should someone be fired for saying the blacks don't deserve reparation?
I'm not familiar with the
Well,
topic.
I just painted the scenario for you at hand. Do you think someone should be fired for simply saying or asking what do white America owe the blacks?
Oh, that's his opinion. You can have an opinion. Who cares?
Okay, I respect that. But you see, a lot of blacks don't think like you. A lot of blacks don't respect opinion. They don't even understand the American Constitution. They
Well, a
only
lot of
understand it if it only helps them. But they don't want free speech for anyone else, but
they,
themselves. And
they
also,
also
and
can I,
so do you think whites owe you guys reparation?
well, I just like to say that they say this is a conversation of this decade. Maybe the past couple decades, but
No,
they're saying
right.
that they're saying that people don't even read. So did those people actually read the book? You know what I mean? Did they actually go through it? What is it
Well,
about? You
they
know,
know they
is it
know
just
enough.
about reparations?
Well, they know enough. They know enough about what it said to make them go to the white man. Look, when I say there is
A lot of
always
black
hold on.
people.
Look, one thing. Like I've worked in a prison before for 8 years as an officer, and I can assure you, most of these, you know, blacks that run their mouth, they might not read, but I'm not naive to sit here and tell you blacks don't read. I've seen people.
No, I wasn't making that statement about just blacks. I was
I'm
saying
there
people.
are blacks. There are blacks. They spend
That are black.
they spend a lot of time reading, even if they're in prison. Like I've seen it with my own eyes.
Of course, they read in
So
prison. There's nothing to do.
No, but my point is,
They write letters.
if they are reading,
They write music.
No, even books. They read books. Big
they
books.
read books. They go to law school. They teach themselves how to read a lot of
hold on. My point
idle
is,
time in prison.
Hold on. My point is, if there are blacks in prison reading books, you can only imagine there is people, free blacks, who dedicate their time to reading books about all this kind of stuff as well. So let's not.
I'm talking about the modern person.
Oh no, I'm talking
with cell phones and doom scrolling.
No, they did read the book, because if they didn't read the book, if they did not read the book, how would they be upset? They know what's in the book. They read it.
Were there any I don't know what they call, like, articles that black people written against the book, like, that you read, or a book that went against that book? I don't know what it's called. I'm not a college student or anything.
Well, the blacks do not oppose, woke books. They only oppose truth, and they do not oppose drug dealers, people that breaking in and entering, criminals. In fact,
are you prejudiced? Are you prejudiced against African Americans or blacks?
No, I am black.
No, I'm saying African Americans.
What makes you
FBAs.
think? But what makes you say am I prejudiced?
Because those are sweeping generalizations. That's why.
Hold on, Sarah. This is for JB. We want to hear. Maybe JB, what makes you think to even say that? Am I prejudiced against the blacks?
I was just asking a question. I mean, what they were saying is kind of sweeping.
I am not. Not all, but most.
Not all, but most. Like Jesse Lee Peterson.
I'm not prejudiced against. I'm not prejudiced against blacks.
Most is more than 50%, so that's basically all.
Well, we got 96% of blacks voting for a white supremacist.
I mean, what would be the problem with you being prejudiced against black people?
I do not have any problem with the blacks. I'm here. Are you familiar with negrology, the class negrology?
No, I never heard of it.
Well,
is that in the dictionary?
Well, you just found yourself in the negrology class. This is a curriculum that was set up like a little over 2 years ago.
Is that in the dictionary?
Look,
negrology,
yeah. So you just found yourself in the negrology class. Welcome to the class. Today might be your first day. Don't be shocked. Over here, we, talk about nothing but the truth, even though the truth might hurt sometimes. But we want to make the blacks great again and make the blacks whole again, instead of begging and crying to the white man.
I want to add the Happy Holiday statement.
No,
are you aware? Are you aware of? I mean, Happy Holidays. Are you aware of that? Most blacks have at least 10 to 20% of European ancestry. Like, they're really like family with these whites. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, this, it is deep. It is something deep,
but
like.
You see, JB, I'm glad you said this, because you know what? I have been saying it here over and over. But some of the blacks, there's like this black, his name is Mac. He's one of those blacks who, like to deny their great-grandfather being white, right? But I'm very aware of it. I have said it here. So the blacks, they come here, they want to,
white, Indian. Yeah, a whole bunch. What'd you say? My bad.
So because negrology here is more catered towards, yes, it's about the blacks, but the Africans are learning a whole lot from it, because what America presents on TV, making it seem like the blacks are smart, but they are not that smart. So Africans should not be learning from the
Do you think Americans are smart? Like, just in general?
Some, yes, some, of course. I mean, look at the country. It's a great country. Obviously, people are smart here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, people are smart. People of all races.
What about
You
where
know,
are you from? Do you think like the average American is smarter than a person from your country?
from my country, well, it
Yeah.
depends on if you're talking the average American.
Talking about yeah.
It depends on
I'm talking
what.
about like somebody's working at like McDonald's. You think they're smarter than you know people from your country?
Well, I mean that's
Who
relative.
has higher IQs on
Like,
average?
Yeah.
like
Continental Africans
because
or African Americans?
generally most Africans that come here,
Who has higher IQs on average?
most Africans that come here regular, they are smarter than your average FBA, especially if they say the FBA. Most Africans are smarter than them.
Well, I'm talking about pre coming here and getting the education from us, like the Western
Well,
education.
well, yeah. I mean, it's okay. The American, if you're operating in this system here, you need a different type of intelligence versus where I come from. Does that make sense? Because the environment is not the same, so you need a different type of intelligence.
Can I ask a
Would you?
question?
What type do you need?
Not the
Can I
FBA
ask a
ones.
question?
What, how to
Can I ask a
milk
question?
cows or what?
What? You have to have the white man intelligence.
But may I ask a question? Can I push back a little bit?
I,
Because I noticed the new students ain't raising their hand; they're just talking. But so I basically wanted to ask a question regarding some of the stuff you're saying. Um, I follow you for years. You always talk about the level of victimhood.
Yeah.
Besides, if you do you believe if African Americans put their victimhood aside, they will succeed greater than what
Oh,
they are doing right now?
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not like they haven't done it before. They've already
They did it
done it.
before, exactly.
Yeah, they did
Yeah,
it before. Yeah, and even take it's like take blacks who done you know follow the victimhood mindset. Look at Ben Carson. Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. I mean, like he's the first person to separate the like conjoined twins. He's black American, but the
may I ask you
black,
another question?
yeah.
Well, so why hasn't Ben Carson organized his people if he's so a high IQ and
Oh,
intelligence? Why is the elite Black Americans not organizing the regular
good,
Black Americans?
good
The European
question.
do. The
Good,
European elites organize their regular
good
people. What is
question.
your
Pajamas, can I answer that,
Hold
please?
on, good question. Ben Carson is shunned by the blacks as an Uncle Tom. You see, the problem with the blacks, even though they live in the you know most advanced country, unfortunately, their unintelligent people are much louder than the intelligent ones. So therefore, like Ben Carson, if you follow him, Ben Carson speaks on you
You
know
mean the ones who think like white people,
he
the
speaks.
intelligent ones?
Hold on. He speaks to black strength. He discourages this victimhood mindset. Yeah, he is definitely doing his part. You can take the horse to the water, but you can force the horse to drink. You see? So the blacks who are smart, they are being attacked by the ones that want free stuff from the white man. So let us bring in, you know,
I don't
um,
even think we're hearing from the black people today. I think
well,
we're
we
hearing
have
from a
what?
lot of diaspora and like mainstream
Are
media.
you black? Are you black?
Yeah, I'm black. I'm
Okay, we're hearing from
yeah.
you. Let's bring in,
No, no, no. This is some underground stuff that's never gonna be heard by nobody. I don't even know how many people listening in. But I'm talking about
sir,
like mainstream
sir,
TV shows,
what do you,
television,
hold on, what do you consider
Supreme Court
mainstream?
stuff like this. Like it's either like some old rickety dude from back in the day. There's not young people from like 20 to like 45 that's black
Hold on,
that you're really seeing
hold on.
that has a real
How
opinion.
old are you? How old are you, sir?
Uh, you, what do you mean? Why are you asking me this?
Because you are saying you think it's some old dudes. You're correct. There's like some old dudes in these spaces. Mind you, he came
Not
from.
not not spaces, not space.
Hold,
I'm talking
hold
about
on,
like
but
mainstream stuff.
hold on. But these are real human beings, sir. Do you understand? Like Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris from the internet. Do you not understand this? Like
I, I'm just
hold on. I'm
I'm just saying that
sensing.
black people aren't even showing up. Like you're
No,
not really even here.
hold
This is
on.
like an echo chamber.
Hold
Like
on. Again, I'm
how
trying to
many people
tell.
outside of Los Angeles in the tri-state area that are we really hearing from that's talking about black issues today? Like who are those prominent people?
It's
Because a
plenty.
lot of
Maybe
this stuff
hold
is
on.
like coastal politics
Hold
that we're
on.
even talking about this right now.
Hold on, sir.
Reparations, I don't think black people really even talking about
Hold on. Are
reparations.
you? That's why you
We got
might be.
health issues and all
Hold
types of
on.
stuff that's
I
going
know.
down.
I
You
know.
know what I mean?
I
That
know.
that that
Over
reparations can't
80%.
even.
I get it. Over 80% are obese. I get all that. I'm glad you brought that up. You would think they would be requesting gyms and good, healthy food. But no, they want free stuff. But you sound like you are new here. You mean well, but you don't understand what is going on here. There is plenty of young black people that subscribe to this. In fact, they are all young. Let us bring in, so-called Africa Free. Come in, Africa Free.
People can't afford house.
Hey, what's up, panel? How's everybody?
We are
What's
doing
good, bro?
well.
What's good?
Yeah, I wanted to address
I
the
mean,
brother
these people.
Wasetti. Um, yeah, brother, they're not gonna hear you about they want all FBAs over here to be African because see they got a deep seated subconscious inferiority complex that their European colonizers inculcated into them. They have a poverty slash primitive
So,
slash
do you,
backwardness
what
They're
do
complex.
prejudice against
so
their own
And see,
people.
they
let me
compensate for it by trying to claim that we don't have a culture, we don't know who we are. So they need us to associate with Africa, be Pan Africanist,
let
etc.,
me let me
etc.
ask you this.
That's the reason. So they're not going to hear it, brother.
Let me ask you this.
I hear you.
Let me
Can I
I
ask you.
hear you.
finish? Can I finish my comment? Don't I
Yes,
have the
but
floor right now?
let me ask. Do you so you
If you
saw
say
I
that,
played the
you are
video?
very free to say that.
Yeah, you saw I played the
Keto,
video.
keto, Glay. You actually surprised me tonight, brother. I see you got a lot of non-tethered traits, and I'm going to make you an honorary non-tethered because I see you
Okay.
try to at least have an open mind, and I can tell that you're
All
sincere.
right. Can you
I
can
have
you
an
let
Other
the
open
than,
mind, but
other, other than,
can you let
you were the one who
the
surprised me.
host
That was
speak?
why I said that. You are the one who surprised me. That was why I came up to talk like that. I don't just talk like that. You really surprised me. That's why I came up like that.
Hold on. Let me address this Africa Free here. So what is wrong with the blacks that they keep begging the white man for reparation, and now they want this smart Jamaican professor to be fired because he dare ask the question, what do white America owe the blacks? What is wrong
Afrodamus.
with the black?
Because you pull up the statistics on how many people out of the 47 million FBAs in this country actually wrote in to get the man fired. What are the statistics on that? How many?
Can you just answer the question, then I'll answer
Can
mine?
you answer that question?
Can you answer the question? Because if not,
Nobody in the grassroots of FBA probably even read that book, sir. These are
because they
boule
don't know
people.
how to read. They don't know
These are
how to
boule people
but
who are estranged from the grassroots FBA community, sir.
so
You're
okay,
just
fine,
taking you're just
fine.
taking one segment of people, one small segment of people in this book that this guy wrote, and you're making a sweeping generalizations about FBAs in general.
Okay,
I
Exactly.
mean, what
He
kind
has
of
a biased
hold
approach,
on.
brother. He
What
has a
is your
biased
exactly,
take?
approach.
What is your
exactly?
take? Okay, let me ask you this. He wrote this book, it's a good book, and he's saying you blacks
That's
have already
that's
received
just his
the
that's just
reparation.
his opinion. It's dogmatic opinion. It's
Oh,
not
so
backed by any kind of evidence, any kind of
so do you
truth, objective
okay,
truth, or reality.
fine. What do white people owe the blacks? Do white people owe you the blacks?
They owe us reparations, sir,
Reparation for what?
for the years and years of free labor that we
You
gave.
wasn't
That
free,
actually,
but you
that
were
hold on,
slaves
let me
back then.
finish, sir.
You were
Let me
legally
finish.
slaves. They
That
owned you.
actually built the economy of this country. All
No,
of the
that's not
banks,
true. But they
and
all
the
of the
owned you.
banks.
intellectual
Look,
property
they
and the
owned you.
intellectual
Exactly,
Hold on,
property
hold
exactly,
that
on,
sir.
went to their
hold
institutions.
on.
So how an FBA is begging for something, like if you owe me a debt, if you owe me something and I ask you for it, and I say, hey, you remember that $20 you owe me? I'm begging you for $20.
So let me say this.
What kind of logic is that, sir?
So let me say this. So if like the NFL draft, right? NFL draft, they put big burly blacks and say, he's 6'3", wingspan, muscular, and the white man pays for him to go run the ball on the field, right? Now the white man owns him. He start running the ball, he gets injured, he can't play anymore. They just you know shiver ties. But while he's under the white man, he gets to leave and follow the white man's rule because he owns him, right? Now we go to slavery. They brought those blacks from Africa. They bought them as their worker in their farms, and they paid them with housing, good food, and all that. So if they bought them, how do they owe the blacks if they finally they freed them? Like how, what is greater than freedom?
Are
People
you sure?
fought for that, brother, and it was
Are
not
you
given to
serious?
them. They had to
I'm
Hold on.
fight for
asking
that.
you.
Are you serious with that question?
Do
Yes.
people get paid for malpractice?
This is for
Do they get
Mac.
payouts for
Mac,
that?
look, hold on. You
This
guys
this
will.
is this is this is basic economics. Let me
Yes,
explain.
I'm
You
I'm
say
I'm
you say they
listening.
pay, you say they paid us with housing and food, etc., etc. Right
He said
now,
they paid us for.
basic economics is in order to make the highest amount of profit, you're going to try to keep costs and expenses as low as you can. I.e., they kept us in the most least expensive and fed us the most least expensive or cheap food that they could, so the profits could be greater. So with those huge profit margins that they made off of the backs of my ancestors, that basically built the economy of this country and made it the empire that it is today,
So
sir.
why
So
why
they owe
why?
us the difference. They
Hold
owe us
on.
the difference, sir.
Let me ask you this. Why then? You know.
It's called
Why
redemption. It's
is
called
hold on,
reciprocity.
hold on. Why is the slave-holding states poorer than the non-holding states? Why is that?
Why are they poor?
Yes, because
Well,
see, in fact, slavery.
show me the
Hold on,
statistics
hold on,
on that.
hold on, hold on. The slave
That show
economy,
me the
right?
statistics. Show me
Hold
the
on,
statistics that
hold on.
actually
Let me
indicate
finish.
that.
For example, if you take Brazil,
You
right?
got some census data or
Let me
anything,
ask you.
anything like that?
Hold on, Brazil, for example.
Africa
Brazil
must
had
Africa.
Brazil had a
No,
lot more slaves. How come the United
sorry for
States is
interrupting you,
way
bro.
richer than Brazil? And you take Mississippi, right? Like the southern states, well, was mostly slavery where the blacks are. Why are those states, like, let's say you compare Mississippi to Washington State that never had slavery? Why is Washington State way richer than Mississippi?
Give me the data and
Wait, Africa
statistics
must
that actually indicate
Wait,
that.
Africa must
are you saying
Africa
Washington
must.
State,
Show
Seattle?
me
Hold
some,
on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
show me some hardcore
Wait, wait a minute.
statistics that actually
Hold on,
indicate that,
hold
and
on,
I'll
hold on.
answer.
Africa must.
Look,
Can I
Answer
answer that
that
question?
question.
hold on, Mac.
Can I answer that question?
Hold on, Mac. Are
Wait,
you trying
Africa
to
must.
argue?
I
Are you
want to say
trying to
something.
compare Mississippi's, economy to Seattle, Washington?
Well,
Is that what
show
you're
me.
trying to say?
Like I said, show me
No, I'm just
some data
asking you. Are
that would
you
indicate
trying?
that.
No. Are you sitting here in front of everybody and argue that you're comparing the economy of Mississippi to Seattle, Washington? Is that what you're doing?
I haven't seen any data on any of the,
No,
you know,
okay, let's
I
say,
can't,
okay, let's say,
I can't
okay,
say.
okay,
What do you want? You want me to tell you from,
huh?
from the eye test?
Wait,
Can I answer the question?
That's not objective. If I tell you from an eye test, just me looking on, that's not objective reality, sir.
so you see how you're not,
That
but
would be subjective.
so
So I
here's
Can
need
I
to
answer the
see some.
question?
I need to see some cold hard data
here's
on
the
that,
thing.
sir.
Here's the thing,
Wait, wait,
Mac. The United
wait.
States economy did not boom till the Industrial Revolution. Okay, the slave is not
What do you
the
think? What do
slave.
you think sparked? What do you think
No,
sparked the Industrial Revolution?
the slave economy.
What,
In
sir?
fact,
What do you think sparked the industrial?
hold on.
It started
It's
with the cotton gin,
not.
sir.
Look, the
It
slave.
started with with the
In
invention
fact,
of the cotton gin, sir.
hold on. Let me finish. This is proven. Slave economy. You lose. Anyways, you're not making anything. This is why Mississippi, and all these other people,
They weren't making
they
anything, and they did it, and the institution went on for at least 250 years. Are you
yeah, in
serious?
the
And they
individual,
weren't making anything.
individual,
How many businesses do you know? If
in
they were in they weren't making anything. They would stay in business for
in
250 years.
well, slavery was in Africa for over 1,500 years before the white man came.
Sir, you think you're a lot smarter than you are,
Well,
man.
it's true.
That didn't make any sense.
Well, they
Can I
continued
answer the
it.
question?
Are you gonna say they made money in Africa from the slaves?
You know, Aphrodite,
I'm
this
asking
economy
you.
and the powerhouse that the U.S. has become. You know it was built on slavery,
No,
man.
it's
Come
not
on, man.
slavery. It's not slavery.
Yes, it
The
was. You know
United
that.
States became superpower
You know that.
After World War II, sir.
Slavery is what upheld all the banks
No,
here in America because they did something called discounting,
the slave economy.
where where
The slave economy
where where
disappeared, sir.
where slave masters and slave owners would get promissory
Look,
notes, and the banks would discount the
look,
promissory notes,
look.
and that's how they financed a lot of the other industries that were popping up around slavery, sir.
Hold on. The slave economy.
Facts.
The slave economy died in 1860
And,
to
and why are you
63.
even comment? Why are you even commenting
Can I
on
answer the question?
this is my FBA history,
I know
and
the
Can I
history.
answer the question?
I
I
know the
actually
history.
agree. I actually agree with Happy Holidays. You should stay out of stuff like this. And I
Uh,
told you, you should stay out of
Can
the
I say
whole thing
something?
with us and the Hispanics
do you have
because
proof? Do you have proof
let
of
me
your
no no
claim
no
that America was built on slavery?
let me
Hold on,
give you
Professor.
Hold on. Do you
Hold
have
on. Can I
let
say
proof?
me
something?
give no
Can I say something real quick?
let me give you an analogy why you should stay out of it. If I were to get dual citizenship over in Nigeria, for instance, or even renounce my citizenship and become a full citizen of Nigeria, yes, I'd be a citizen. But if the Igbo and the Hausa happen to get riled up with each other and get into a interethnic beef or whatever, I'm going to stay my black ass out of it. Why? Because I'm a citizen, but I'm not a citizen like that. The Igbo and the Hausa have actual blood, sweat, and tears that are mixed inside the soil of Nigeria. That's what I'm telling you. Yes, you're a citizen here as an African, but you're not a citizen like that. Us FBAs, and I dare say even Latinos, because they've been here a lot longer than you, they have actual blood, sweat, and tears mixed inside the soil of this land, sir. So you should
So,
stay out of that.
so the
I
people
actually
that
agree with Happy Holidays, and you need to listen to her
so the people they brought here, your ancestors, are they from Africa?
because what you don't understand is
Were they
that
from Africa, sir?
with this new regime that's in office, you guys have actually become. We used to be the lowest bottom case, the lowest on the totem pole, but you guys, along with the LGBTQ and other minorities, are actually now beneath us, whether you know it or not.
Okay. Let me bring it all out.
You're laughing, but it's true because
Okay.
we're no longer fit to be that lowest bottom case because see now we're delineating for
Okay.
one thing, and they no longer have any use for you because
All
now
right.
we're seeing through you
Can I say
guys,
something?
so they can't use you guys as spies, agent provocateurs, and agent saboteurs anymore. So they got no more
Can I
use
say
for you.
something real quick, man?
So they're gonna come for y'all first when they start this immigration haul off, this deportation haul off. See, they're saying it's the Hispanics, but they're gonna come for y'all. I'm telling you. So that's why I've been telling you, you should lay low and quit being so prideful and arrogant, walking around here with your chest stuck out like you are.
Thank
Because if they decide to come at you all, who you think gonna be on your side?
you. The white man.
No, they ain't.
Who is it
The
gonna?
only people you'll have to defend you is the people that you constantly keep in your mouth, us FBAs. That's all you got.
Oh, you guys gonna come rescue?
That's all you got. I'm
You're
telling you
gonna
that
come.
now. So you guys need to quit being so cocky, like I said, and walking around with your chest poked out.
So let me ask you this. So like, do you think white people owe you reparation, and why? If yes,
I just told you that. I just explained it to you. I gave you a soliloquy on why.
okay. Let me
I
bring
gave
in
you I
order.
gave you the economic reasons. I
Can I
gave
say
you
something
the
real quick, bro?
Yes, go
social
ahead.
reasons why.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, I agree with you partially, but partially disagree. I agree with you that um, Mississippi is you said Minnesota is richer than Mississippi, but the main reason is because a lot of African Americans, the elites are not reinvesting in the masses of the people. Relax, mama. They're waiting for the government to do stuff. While in the past, the regular elites used to come through and invest and build up community by community, and that's the main difference. And slavery did build up the country. That's why one of the reasons even today they're bringing in cheap workers, cheap migrant workers, because they know that the less that they pay them, the more that they can save and cut corners in terms of insurance and all that. So slavery provided the same work. It provided people who were intellectual and understand different agricultural means. There were also laborers. There was also builders. So there's a lot of elements in which is minimized in the textbooks that are greatly, if you look at the history for what it was, they greatly built up America, and the money that they saved from not paying them is also used as different things in terms of the military strength, building new, expanding out to
You
the
do realize
west.
it was private individuals that owned slaves, right? This
True,
is
true,
not
but
the
they made a lot of money off the slaves.
what I'm saying is it was private individuals who owned slaves, and in the Civil War they destroyed their economy. The private individuals. So this economy, American economy, is not from slave economy. You cannot be
So you
rich
so
off of
the
slave.
banks didn't keep the money from the slave
It's
masters.
not the same. It's not this. It's again, banks were not the ones that owned it. We live in a completely different economy. This has nothing to do with slave economy. The slave economy died a long time ago. That's why they got
I
rid of it.
respectfully disagree.
Sir,
Well,
Aphrodite,
I
if
do
I
I
if
do
I
I
That
do
money
believe
closed
they
Aphrodite,
That
over
died a
before the
while ago.
war,
Like
Mr. Damas.
if I own
slavery,
slaves and
slavery did not.
I own slaves and I want to get a loan
Only the
and I
South.
put
The South had the slaves.
I put those slaves up for collateral, then who owns those slaves?
It's still that individual. How's that? How did
That's
that
what
help the
they were
economy?
doing. That's what a lot of them were
Yeah,
doing.
that benefited that
They
individual.
were
That's what
putting
I'm
up the
saying.
slaves as
But
collateral, sir,
yeah, but it destroyed
and
that economy.
issuing promissory notes, and that was the base of their economy. They
Mac,
traded promissory
Mac,
notes.
that economy did not exist for almost 200 years, sir. And that was in the South. The North was industrialized. It's industrialization that got
Well,
America.
you're proving my point even more.
No, the
They
blacks
were
did
doing
not. Look,
they were doing business with each other, sir.
Mac, why?
The
What
cotton, the
represented?
cotton and the stuff that they
Mac,
produced in the
hold
South
on,
would be sent up to the North to be processed and shipped off.
Mac.
That's
Why
So
true.
did they?
that
Mac,
built up the economy even more, sir.
hold on. Let me
That's the
ask you
whole
this.
reason why the Civil War started, because
No. Hold on, Mac.
between the
Please,
North and the South.
Mac. Why did the North, like you saying, if this were true, why would the North fight to end slavery then? Why
That was
would
not the initial part of the agreement.
That wasn't the
no,
reason.
Initially,
They didn't. They
look,
weren't
they
fighting.
initially
They
didn't want
weren't,
to free the
sir,
slaves.
They
hold on,
weren't
guys,
fighting. They weren't fighting to end slavery. They were fighting
no,
because
no.
the South seceded from the Union.
Oh, And why was
They
the
were
why
trying
was
to
okay?
restore the
Why was the
Union, sir.
South? Hold on. Why was the South? Why did the
And the
South
slaves being
secede?
emancipated were just a
Hold on,
byproduct of that.
Mark.
But
Let's
that
go
was
step by step.
the main reason they were fighting, because the
Okay,
South seceded.
okay,
Just
step by step.
like the South of Sudan seceded from the north of Sudan, and they almost had a
Okay,
war, or maybe even had a war.
let me calm
You
down,
get
Mark.
it? North and
Okay,
South.
fine, Mark.
You gotta let us
Why did
answer,
the
bro.
South? Why did the South secede? Like people
I
have
just
reason.
told you. I
What
just
was the
told you.
reason? What was the reason?
Because they didn't want to pay the banks
Not
that
true.
had
Not
loaned.
true.
Yes, it is.
Not
Yes, it
true.
is.
The South
Yes, it is.
seceded because they did not want to stop slavery, sir. That's what
That
it
was
was.
that was
Okay,
only part of
hold
the
on.
reason.
Let me read this. Super
That
Afrodamas,
was
you want
girl.
me
only
to
part of the
Hold on,
reason.
guys.
you
Hold
want
on.
me to tell you what
Let me
happened?
read.
You're right,
Let me
Afrodamas.
read
You want
my
me to
super chats. Let me read. Okay,
The
super girl.
real reason
Mac, hold on.
is because
Mac,
after the
Mac,
Revolutionary War,
Mac. Can you allow me to live my capitalist life peacefully? Since you are all hung up on that slave economy, I live in a real economy, okay? Let me do it on the white man's technology he provided for all of us.
they owed this money.
Supergirl said, Africa, free/Mac. How about you start your own damn channel? That's what I keep asking. Thank you, Supergirl, for the super chat. All right, go ahead. Happy holidays.
Okay, Afrodamas, when regards to the Civil War, the South absolutely did not want to end slavery because slavery was the economy. Cotton was the cash crop. Prior
Exactly.
to cotton, it was tobacco. When you look at the history of the United States, what's very sad is that, remember, there's really two groups. Black America is like 10 to 30% white America Caucasian. They are bred. It's more than, there's no coming from the ship. We all know what happened. They were bred here. They're on average 10 to 30% Caucasian from one area in Europe. When after the Revolutionary War, so when there became a United States, because remember, the history is
She's speaking
1619.
like she a geneticist or something.
The history is 1619 to 1789. 1789 is the United States. But in that time, you
You
had
mean 76?
well, no. 76 is Revolutionary War. Remember, 89 is the Constitution.
Right.
That is the birth of the United States,
Yeah,
not so much the war.
but
So
you know,
when
they sell it. The United States is going to be
because that's the kickoff, right? That's because it's
250 years.
right. That's the kickoff to the war, the beginning of everything. 1776, of course. I only bring all of that up because during that time, from 1619 until the actual United States Constitution, everybody was living in the colonies. There was no South. There was no South. There was no Deep South. You very much had communities. So there really was like a vibrant history. What happened was once there was the United States, everything blew up because all the promises that were being made, such as ending slavery, none of it came into fruition. Slavery should have ended with the United States. There was conversation for Ohio. They were going to start moving Black people into the Midwest. None of that happened. There was everything that was being told to them by the Continental Army, by Washington, etc. All of it was just lies and thrown out the window with the United States. That made their situation worse because whatever communities they had in the colonies, remember, now they're beginning to move everyone down south. That is the beginning when you're looking at chain gang. This is when you're reading Huckleberry Finn. When you start reading stories about the South, you see what happened from around the end of this, around 1789 moving forward, till before the Civil War. So basically, what they call antebellum, before war. That history, the South, and things just kept getting worse because whatever, like quote unquote, like when we say African tribal history, it's now gone. All of it is gone. Every time the United States would get bigger or there was a change, a categorical change to the United States, their situation not only would get worse, they're being tied, they're being removed further from what they would know as like African ancestry. Really, what is left now is like when we look at religion, voodoo, but much of what they are, their history is just not Africa at all. We all know where they came from. It's only one area, but again, they were bred. From 1789 to the start of the Civil War, the first United States Census, Afrodamus, there was about like 500,000. When we look at Black slaves, by 1865, you're at 4 million. This is not Africa. These are born, bred Americans who are going to be majority West Africa and then like 20% white European, all from two areas, Black from basically Benin, West Africa, Europe, Northwest Europe. That's it.
And Jamaica and Haiti, they were bringing them
If
from.
we're so African, how come we ain't a member of that? How come we ain't a member of AFRICOM if we're so African?
Afrodamus, I can explain to you, Haiti. So what happened is once Jefferson, the Louisiana purchase, then you're bringing in the other African tribes. Then that's more Europe, the rest of West Africa. The English is the United States. The English only one area, and remember, they come from one area in Europe, and they went to these slave ships, one area in West Africa. There was no mix. The Spanish and the Portuguese, they went throughout West Africa. That's why you see Brazilians very mixed. When you see all these various West African groups, that's not the United States. United States is just, they're not even Yoruba here. It's literally, you know who, and it's not that. So when you see how they behave, they're too distant. They are double-digit Caucasian. They are very double-digit Caucasian, and they are West Africa. Afrodamus, I'll go ahead and end with this. They were able to keep it Whyte America because they restricted slavery. The United States, before there was an even United States, to answer your question about who was a slave, it was codified. The first legislative body in the United States, Afrodamus, was the House of Burgess in Virginia.
Well, it explains, you know,
they
like someone said here, the prison Angola in Louisiana.
Oh, I can explain. Angola.
They were bringing the slaves from Angola at the time.
Exactly. Right. And that's Portuguese, that's French. Anything Portuguese, French, Spanish, they were all together. That's Haiti, that's Louisiana, that's Brazil, Jamaica, anywhere speaking English is West Africa and Europe.
These blacks better go to Portugal for reparations.
They're not mixed. They're literally mixed of just two groups to varying degrees. You are white.
That's not fully true because they used to
part white. Your great grandfather is a white American, and you are West African. That is it. 400 years of them mixing together, and they are all one. Afrodamus, even remember, you see how strict they are with Whyte America. Whyte America has no Black ancestry. Less than 2% of Whyte America has Black ancestry, and you know where it comes from. And it comes from the same tribe, one tribe. That's it. They're not mixed. It's less than 2%, literally West Africa. That is it. Oh, I'll go ahead and end.
All right, let's bring in
Zaddy, you see how I told you they got a need to connect us with Africa so desperately?
Let's bring in Ola. Ola, are you there? Ola, unmute yourself.
Yeah, for that one.
Ola. So you're listening to the conversation. You see, are you surprised to see some of the blacks on the panel here running away from, where they came from? They're desperate to. Some want to be more.
Everybody on the planet came from Africa, sir. So what?
Ola, Mac, can you just?
Everybody came from Africa.
Can you just sit in the back of the
from Africa?
Go ahead, Ola.
I have proof.
I think Happy Holiday. I think she was saying the truth. No matter how we want to twist it, these are the descendants of the white people. And maybe their mother might be Black women, from West Africa. They sometimes when they see other blacks from other places like Jamaica who are fully like Africans, other black people, they say this we're one with blacks. But that's what I say, you're dealing with two-faced people. You know, you can't really actually. What you have to understand, they actually did have traffic when they brought them to United States, especially these black West African women and some of the few men. They never really have traffic from there. From there, they just start breeding them. The white man will take his own turn. The slave black man will take his own turn. So what you're seeing now is people that hate the other blacks, the other black people who are not from United States. Let's put it like that to talk. So some of them also have some Caribbean, newly people that came maybe for Haiti or Jamaicans, but they are actually the children or the stepson of white people. That's why their culture and the white people actually match. If you put a white man down, then you put them down, you can see that they have similar type of culture. They eat similar type of food.
You talking straight ignorance, brother.
Hold on.
For real.
You're 100%
I could tell you about Caribbean history.
We discussed it with Afrodamus the other day. Look at their soul food.
Hold on. The Irish food they eat, which is the chicken, and the potatoes on that chicken, you know, the soul food come from Scotland. The meat pie, you know, sometimes even the grey corn at the border they eat sometimes, you know. Africans don't eat corn. Africa don't eat corn with butter on it, you know.
Macaroni and cheese. Afrodamus, macaroni and cheese, like you said, remember?
So most of them have the English taste. Those ones that say they eat seafood, that come from the Dutch and from the Scandinavian people, which is Norway, Swedish, and all those people.
Mac and cheese.
Chicken pot pie.
So
black folks make that chicken pot pie was good.
That's why when they have problem with other black diaspora, they will secretly write a letter to their stepfather and their uncles and their grandfather and say, "Hey, daddy, family, I want you to fire this West African man." They will call it Africa. I want you to fire this African man. Then when he's not in trouble, he will come and meet the Africans and say, you know, we're the descendants of the slave trade. No, we're not buying it anymore. As you say, you want to delay it, we have already left you for a very long time, because you can never come and be you can never be related to us, because we know your uncles and your grandfathers are white people.
You're talking personal things about, but your views is so misconstrued. I've lived in Africa. I have lived in Africa. I have helped people in Africa. I've given jobs to people in Africa. How dare you talk about us with the blood that we shed for your?
Who are you to give a job? You see, this is look. I understand.
I've been to Africa. I've put electricity in communities. I have lived with people, and I wasn't talking to them the way you talking about us over here. Have some respect, dude. I've lived in the Caribbean islands. Dude, why do you have this guy on the panel, Afrodamus? This guy's a clown.
Can I say something when they're done speaking, gentlemen?
I'm next. I'm next. Can I just say one thing?
I'll go after you.
I understand your grandfather.
Afrodamus. I want to talk.
Let him finish.
All right.
You see, this dude that is making his money to give job to Africans, I wonder actually what is he having really? It's easy to make big mouth. I understand your grandfather is a slave white trader. You understand me? No problem about that. He's been drinking whiskey and cognac for a very long time. You are part of that bloodline.
Look at this. First of all, that's an ignorant statement, because not all of us have been through that. And if they went through that, so what? They survived. That's what makes me better than you. You just mad because I'm better than you. Because you sound like you older than me, but you sound ignorant. If you really want black unity, you would talk in black unity. You wouldn't put all this time and attention to negativity. You know what they show to us about Africans on the continent? But I refuse to believe that. And I still dig into my roots, and I go to the continent and help my brothers and sisters out and talk about unity all the time, even though I've been running through people like you all the time. You're a clown, dude.
Which route do you have in Africa? Which route? You have to go to Scotland or Dublin. Which root
What
do you
roots I
have in
have in
Africa?
Africa? I have many roots in
Which root
Africa.
you have there?
See,
You
that's the
say
thing. I
because
can go to several countries in Africa because my lineage is in several
you have no
countries in
lineage.
Africa.
You have no
What are you
lineage there.
talking about? You just into
If you want
one.
to chase, if you want
You
to
just
chase your
into one
lineage,
area. You're just into
Can I,
one area. I can name
can I,
several countries that my
Mr.
can I
lineage
say
Man,
stems
something,
from.
Bala?
Mr. Man,
Hold on. Can I say?
Mr. Man, go and chase your root in Scotland, in Ireland, or you have to straight in
Hey,
Portugal or
guess what?
Spain.
Guess what? I got my elders in Africa that helped me out with that. So there's your answer right there.
Can I say what
Yeah,
I gotta say? Then
Afrodamus,
Bala to pass the mic to
Go ahead.
Afrodamus,
AA.
Afrodamus, please, 1 minute, please, 1 minute. I beg you. Let me just talk something quick.
Wait,
Just wait, please,
wait.
one minute, please. One
Princep,
minute,
that
1 minute,
Princep is
Afrodamus.
turn, but okay, make it quick.
All right. So you see the problem that is going on right now in the Sudan between the Arabs and the Africans, that you see some Sudanese have identity crisis. That country is not the only African country with the major identity crisis problem. It is because when the Arabs wanted to take over that country, they use the method of going and burning and mixing with the Africans, so that their sons can take over the land with their last name. And because their sons will now look like the Africans will think that they are the same. I'm not neglecting the fact that the Africans are not related to their to their sons' mothers. But according to even biology, before I even go spiritual, in biology, people trace lineage based on father bloodline. It's not nobody hates another person by telling you that because you are a Smith or because you are a Hill or you are a Woods, it means that you are from England or you are from Scotland. No, nobody hates you. We are just telling you the truth. They will know for a fact in America, and white people even use that. So one thing I know that I observed, when white people came to attack Africa, they studied the strategies of the Arabs, how the Arabs managed to conquer some parts of Africa. Those are the same thing they did. You think? Let me tell you one thing: white people they don't do things just by coincidence. They meant to do some of those things for those reasons. They decided to have children, to sleep with African women, to have children so that they can use those children as agents of white supremacy in Africa. Just how the Arabs use their children as agents of Arab supremacy in Africa, and we are fighting them. So if you do your DNA test from your father line, get to know your father was a white man, is a fact that you are not
You mean like
you are
Obama? Like
not an
Obama?
African man. You are not
Obama has
an
an
African man.
African name. Obama carries his
Barack Obama
black
is an African
His name
man.
is Barry.
father's
Barack Obama biological
name.
father.
Barry Sotoro. But
He,
when he
Obama
was
no,
ready,
Obama has been to the village.
African.
He carries a black African name.
Obama
yeah, but
His
he
wife
changed
is
his
a
name
it
to
black
is a
that.
fact that
woman. That is a black man. He knows
Yeah, but
full
he
well
changed
he's
his
a
name
black
to that
man.
though.
And when he got married, he
He was
black
Barry Sotoro.
Africa. When he's running around with white women, he can call himself Barry Sotero. But notice what happened. He kept it black Africa and married a black woman. He did exactly what is expected. Let him have his let him have his fun. Notice what it is.
I mean, fine. Let's
Can I
bring
say
in Lord.
something?
Go ahead, Lord.
He's junior.
Yeah, my man.
Barack Hussein Obama Jr. His father, Barack Hussein Obama Sr. His wife, a black woman, is carrying a black African name. Those daughters, every bit look
Well,
black.
that's still
Carrying a black
questionable,
name.
but you know,
No, what you say? And now a black African is the United States president from
well,
Kenya.
that still is questionable.
Remember,
Michelle is still being. There's a question mark on her, but
I'm
we'll bring
gonna
Lord
stop with
Princep.
that nonsense. Stop with that nonsense. Come on. Notice that is not. Notice the last name that matters because Black America. We know who their last name is Caucasian. Their last name is tied to their plantation.
Yeah, but you're trying to divide Michelle Obama from her African American roots,
Of
which
course,
is
she's a black woman.
undeniable. She's an
Michelle
African American
Obama is a
woman.
black woman. Nobody's denying anything from her. No one is
No, but
separating.
you're implying that African
She's a
Americans.
black woman. On top of that,
Princep, there's a lot of noise from your end.
Her grandparents were sharecroppers. She's a black American woman. We know where she's from.
We'll bring her file eventually. Princep, go ahead. Princep, are you? Is the noise cool over there?
You tell me. Am I all right? My daughter's making a little noise. Am I all right?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just every now
Okay.
and then.
I'm sorry. She's playing around. My main point, I agree with A to a certain degree, but you have to remember, similar to the Caribbean, our cultures are creolized. We are majority blood Africans for the most part, 80, 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're majority blood Africans for the most part. The idea, even like you look at the banjo. All right, mama. All right. If you look at certain cultures like the banjo, certain dances, certain foods, if you even look at minstrel shows, that's just white people making fun of African Americans and their African mannerisms. You see what I'm saying? So historically, they understood there was a difference, but today you see the average European singing, rapping, and doing whatever. But these cultures are infusions from Africans that came here. You see, even the way they talk, they used to make fun of the way people talk. But if you look at most commercials today, they have all types of slang words in it. So my thing to African Americans, they are very smart. They did a lot, but like Afro-Adamas always say, they have a level of victimhood that blocks them from their full potentials. Even if you like his example of Mississippi, they could have made Mississippi a new black hub similar to Atlanta, made their own black states, made their own reparations, but they refuse to do so. Mama, Vinny, Mama. They refuse to do so, and that's what's holding them back. I feel like their cultures creolize. They choose not to identify with Africa when they choose to, and whatever they have a very mixy energy. AA is right, but they're very much so African. There's elements of African cultures all throughout. You travel to different cities, you'll see different elements of Africa throughout the different cities that they themselves are the ones who infuse that into this culture. And the Europeans used to import people from the Caribbean as well as Africa to the Americas to breed with these African Americans here. So they're very much African by blood, but you could say that they're missing something. And like the African brother said earlier, they need to tap back in with the other Africans, and we got to learn from one another.
All
But
right.
salute to Afro-Damas, Professor. God bless. I'm out, man.
All right.
If I may share, one of the biggest issues that is always one of the biggest issues that will always plague their group as a whole, Black America, is the same. It's the same issue that is plaguing Latin America, South America, which is colorism. Remember, in the Americas, these are majority mestizo classes. Technically, Black America is a mestizo class. They're 10 to 30% Caucasian. Like this, like they're literally.
But there's a lot of black.
I know
a lot of
I mean,
blacks that are very dark, like African.
Okay, yeah, we understand. Right.
It's not
Right.
that.
Again,
There's the. I don't think their mestizo class is
no,
the same level as the Latin America. A lot of blacks here look very African, though.
Right. But let me share. Remember, Brazil, South America, they have their white Brazil class, like those quote unquote. They're like, again, they are large percentage Black African.
Yeah, but don't you think that's a different history?
No.
Like
I'm not. No, let me correct myself, Afro-Damas. What I'm saying is that the parallels. So you have some people. You see how there's white Brazil and Black Brazil. Basically, you can lift that to America, Black America.
No, well, in Brazil, right?
You have the Black America group. You will have a large percentage who are 10 to 30% white Caucasian, like English ancestry, white Caucasian.
Yeah, but the difference is, right?
And then you have a small percentage who are Black.
The difference, like in Brazil, right?
How do you know that? Happy holiday.
Hold on.
You want me to share the difference?
Hold on, guys. Hold on. In Brazil, those Portuguese, like you have the Spanish colonies and the Portuguese colonies. They have a lot of young men. They are away from Europe. So so the Spanish colonies and the Portuguese, it was not illegal. They didn't have, it was not illegal for them to take those African women as their wives. So their children, their offsprings, were free. In America, it was different. Here, and
I put that in your chat. They were slave because America brought European white women. America bred white American society.
They didn't mix. They
mixed, and they mixed.
But it's not that much. It's not that much.
Oh, yes, it was a lot. That's Black America.
But
those who are mixed. That's why Black America is such a large population.
Yeah, but how do you do this?
30% white. Because the mix is what created Black America.
Yeah, but happy holidays. If that were the case, we would have seen the same amount, like we're seeing, like these Brazilian people, Africans that went to these Spanish colonies, you know, like the colors we're seeing, we would have seen the same in the United
No,
States. But
absolutely
it's
not.
not the same. The
I can
blacks
tell you because of the slave code.
retain their most of majority. I think the darker skin are the majority.
Afrodamas, again, because of slave codes. And the people
Yeah,
that you're
but the
seeing
majority
dark,
are
they
the
were
dark skin ones. They,
no,
that means
yes,
they
they
didn't
are
mix
dark,
much.
and they're still part white. Like they're still
Right?
10%.
Yeah, some of them.
A lot of them, a
Yeah.
lot. They
Happy
all
holidays. What percentage
remember,
of Black
no
Americans have
more
taken
than
DNA tests?
400,000 Afrodamas. Respectfully, 1 second, sir. Afrodamas, something you need to
Have
understand.
you met a lot of people from the South? They look very
Yes,
African.
because they were bred. Afrodamas,
No,
respectfully.
but what I'm saying, whether
I
they were
know.
bred or not, but they were bred with fellow
To be
people that
slaves.
look like them,
Right,
African.
right, and black people, right? They were bred to be black slaves by black people and the white masters. Everything you're
Yeah,
saying is
but
correct,
what I'm
but it
saying
was
is they were
done by
not mixed.
design. Oh no, they were mixed. Oh yeah,
You
they
know,
were mixed.
did you know, like in the plantation, they
Yeah,
were,
they had the
hold
house
on,
slave and the field slave, but yes, they were separate. But then remember, when you're looking past, you need
hold
to
on.
think
Happy holidays. Happy holidays. I understand what you're saying, but even yes, there was some breeding that happened. Some slave owners that did that, but the American slaves, they were allowed, you know, to marry amongst each other. They still were creating families. They maintained their families. That's why you see a lot
Yes,
of still there, you know, majority are the dark skin. Yes, some are mixed,
no, you're
but
absolutely
the majority are
right.
very African looking.
But however, I mean, honestly,
Are
not
very African still.
because I mean, yes, you're correct, but we need to be honest.
I mean, we see them all the time.
We do, but we do need to be honest if we're going to talk about like complexion and color, because you can readily see a South Indian who is much darker than a Black American. Like their color honestly really isn't that dark. You will see some in the deep South because of slavery.
But let me ask you.
But because Mississippi has never recovered from the Civil War, so there is still the situation with slavery.
But what I'm saying, you do not see Black Americans who, like, they're not even recently from Africa, who are they're even darker than, you know, most. I've met Blacks who are darker than me, a lot of them, in fact.
Not really. Depending where you are, a lot of them really are not. Depending where you are.
I'm like in the West Coast, like I'm talking literally, like I mean, look at like Michael Jordan, for example. There are a lot of Blacks who look like him.
Yeah, a lot look like him. And Michael Jordan probably is
like
still
they're
going to be
very
like
African, like Shaq and others. Like,
and there's
those
going
are
to
just
be a
popular.
percentage of
Look
Caucasian.
at Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, yeah, he's Black and he's still probably
you can take a look at Kevin Hart. You know, Kevin Hart.
You're still correct, because what it is
even
that
even P Diddy, like,
you know why?
You take a look at 50 Cent. I mean,
because
like there's a lot of them, like even
children,
regular Blacks, like there's a lot of them that actually,
because they kept their families as much as they could. They did, and they got married, had kids.
Yeah, they were allowed to marry. They used to get married. They kept their families.
Yes, they did. They did. And we also know that because of the slave population that was bred, let's go with what you're saying. You're having two worlds, and eventually both the Black American families and those who, of course, come through the plantation, like what they say, the house slave and the field slave, that situation, they're still going to converge and collide, because you still see Black Americans who have a very, very, very light-skinned grandmother. You have Black Americans who has a grandmother who looks almost Caucasian, but she is identified as Black. So that's their mix. That's who they are. But they still have a very significant, even the darkest they do still have that percentage of Caucasian. And the reason is because the United States kept it very strict. They kept their miscegenation laws, their race mixing laws, very, very strict. They did not honor mixed marriages. Once Louisiana was annexed into the United States, There was no more French Creole white men marrying. They did not allow that. They did not allow black men, white men, not
Yeah,
black men.
but you see what that's what I'm saying, because of because the English, their laws were different from the Spanish and the Portuguese, right? So that's why the Portuguese and Spanish, they mix with the Africans. But the English that came here, they did not allow the
No.
mixing. Like if you go, like the French also, the French, the French, the French partly, because if you look at it, they created a class.
Ooh, the French
class.
Creole. That's
Yeah.
Beyonce. Beyonce,
But
all
the
her
black
grandfathers
people
were all
here.
white Frenchmen. Beyonce,
Yeah.
all her grandfathers are white Frenchmen. She doesn't even have a black grandfather on her mother's side.
Yeah,
They're
but what I'm saying, majority of the blacks here still in America, they still retain. They are mostly African.
They
Like,
do. Yeah.
they are mostly African. You can
Yeah,
see
like
it
80,
all over
80,
them.
90, yeah, 80, 90%. And you know where in Africa? It's obvious.
Like you wouldn't know exactly what country.
Well, no, you know where.
But you see many, you would think
They have
they're
the
even
records.
Nigerian or
The English kept the records off for Thomas. Like the English actually have slate, because white people keep excellent records. They kept the records of even the ship they came from. You can find this online.
Look at Tariq. Look at Tariq Nasheed. Tariq even looks like an Igbo person.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. They all
Can I ask a Can I ask a question? Where are all these slave ships? How come I can go into a museum and find a dinosaur exhibit of bones, but I've never seen a slave ship in a museum.
Well, you're not
Why would you
looking.
see
You
a
better go
slave
look.
Why would you
Where are they? They had to be at least about.
Hold on, Mac. Are you trying to argue that the transatlantic slave trade never happened?
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but what?
No, I'm asking you. Then why? So, what is the point? Are you trying to tell us it never happened? Is that what you're trying to say?
But listen. That's just the question. It's something that makes you go, How come I can go? How come I can go into a museum and see an exhibit of a dinosaur that they claim is millions of years old, but yet I've never in my life went into a museum and seen a slave ship?
So, go ahead, Kikidola.
Afrodamos, you see, Happy Holiday, I think she's absolutely right. You see, when they brought some of this, to talk the white people, they like black people at that time, but their attraction towards these black African women, they took into those ships. That doesn't mean they were not sleeping with them.
Yeah, but Kidola, here in mainland America, it was the English. They had laws against that. They didn't make.
But you're right. But
that's why there's still a lot of like blacks. The black slaves here, they were allowed to have families. They get married.
Yeah, but once that blood is already in them, maybe when those children started growing up, right? Sure, they will never allow them to go and marry to a white woman or a white man or something. Or maybe there's some of them can be prostitutes somewhere or something like that. But majority of them went back to marry the other few African men that was in that spot at that time. At that time, they might even allow one African man to start pregnating 2 or 3 people. You have to understand, that doesn't mean because they allowed them to marry, they were not selling them also. Like they were also selling them. You understand me? So they can just break up a family also and just sell them to different people.
They were able to. They did that. That's why.
Yeah. So what you see,
war, right? The Civil War.
So what you see now, if you see any black American that his eyes is too clear, right? Mostly Africans, sub-Saharan Africans have brown eyes. The palms are brownish, right? If you look at mostly black Americans, some of them, their palms.
Is any of this scientific, Ola?
Hold on. Their palms are a little bit pinkish, right? A little bit kind of like going towards the white man's side. Their eyes sometimes doesn't have brown color on them. You understand me? So what I try to tell you, even I met a black American woman. He said, look, the temperature of an African man is far more different from the temperature of a black American man. That happens to tell you that the temperature of an African man is far more warmer than the temperature of a black American man. If you shake an African man, the palms are very, very hot or warm sometimes. If you shake some of these people's hands, are not so warm like that. So that will tell you that when they say women, when they get down with this African man, and they will never leave this African man, because whatever comes out of the Jews that comes out of this African man are something else, the temperature is something else, the whole thing is something else. They will tell
So
you.
you're saying the
Ola,
black
none of this is scientific, man. None of this is scientific.
No, I'm telling you the truth. Even if you meet white women sometime also, the US and African men have a white woman, even hugging them alone, they say, wow, you're very warm. You understand me? The warm out and the warm in, they're all the same.
You live right on the equator. You're supposed to be warm.
No. What I'm trying to tell you is that you
live right smack dab on the equator, Ola.
Because you be tinted sometime with the white blood inside you, because for the white man to be anything else, you have to play with him for a very long time. But with the African man, they take a short time before his bullet started, shooting like machine gun. So the temperature of me and you that is black American, and me that's Africa, is totally different. So that's why sometimes your AA women, when they come close to African men, it take long time before they will say, let me leave this African dude. They will stick in there and say, man, I like my African man. You understand me? That African man is not like a bushmeat eater, anything anymore. There's a differences. They can look black.
Kidola, before I forget, Kidola, you see on the thumbnail, are you surprised to see Tariq Nasheed in between, his white zaddies when he's over there begging for reparation? This is back in the days when he used to go crawling under the white man. Are you surprised to see this? Look at how hard he's laughing.
Afrodamos, so no matter how you want to say
what is he supposed to do? Afrodamos, be antisocial? We gotta socialize with Caucasian people too. I mean, they're here.
Afrodamos, they coming to the white people it's like they returning back home. The only Africans you see in these black Americans are the Haitians, the Jamaicans that came inside late 80s something. Why they have a high percentage of Africans inside there, let's just be honest, they might deny it or say anything they want to say, is the influx of the Haitians and the Jamaicans. I mean, the African Caribbeans that came towards the United States. You have to, most of them was being dumped in the South. You understand me? They were workers, and they were all kind of things. So when you see a black America with high percentage of African in them, maybe they have Caribbean root. Apart from that, their grandfathers are white men. There's no white woman inside them. Mostly, majority of them have grandfathers that are white because the white men never allowed those African men to joke with their white women. So what you're seeing now is that some of them carry a lot high percentage of European DNA. That's what you see.
How do you all know this? How many black Americans have actually taken DNA tests out of the 47 million?
We can see to your behavior and your character.
Ola.
You understand me?
How many black Americans have taken DNA tests out of 47 million? That's my question.
Ola, also keep in mind something.
You can't make that determination. There's not a large enough sample pool to make that determination.
Ola, also keep in mind
that the majority of us have European ancestry.
Hold on, Mac.
Okay, Ola, to tell you something. This whole situation with the Moors, that is not them. When you look at North African DNA, that is Mexico. That's really the rest of the Americas. That is not the United States.
Listen, they called all so-called black people, African people, whatever you want to call them, Moors at one point. So it could have been anybody, any one of us.
I understand.
Okay. Happy holidays. Hold on. Happy holidays. Sure, before you say this, right? It's funny. How come us that are directly from Africa, we're much closer to that history recorded? How come we have no attachment to the Moors, but the people
what did I just say? They called all of us. They called all of us Moors, so it could have been any of us.
Not true.
Yes, they did.
Not true. So
look in the dictionary under black and Moor and see what it says.
Mac,
And if
Can
you
I
got an
use?
old enough dictionary and you look
Hold
up
on,
Moor,
Mac.
it'll tell you
Mac,
a black person.
Mac, can I use my professorial privileges? Thank you. So happy holidays. How come the record shows their last part was from either Angola, Benin,
Yeah.
Senegambia, or this region? How come you notice they don't claim these places? They want to claim that they are Moors, who went into Spain.
I
What
can
is that all about?
I can explain that. Well, because remember, the Moors have their history in Europe.
Right.
So I've heard this before. They do believe they are Moors. They do. They,
Some
I've
of them.
heard. Oh yeah, some of them. I've even heard, even Vikings. I've heard that too from them, that Vikings were black and that they are descendant of Vikings. What it really is happening is, I can understand you want to be part of something, part of a group, part of a tribe, that has a history where you come
We are part of a group.
Well, I understand
It's
that
47 million of us.
the only thing is when we look at the Moors again is Spain, Portugal. The Moors have their history in the Iberian Peninsula. That is not England. The English defeated the Spanish, first removed the Moors out of the United States before the Spanish even came to the United States. Remember, Afrodamus, our history. The Spanish got rid of the Moors out of the Iberian Peninsula. So that Spain became Europe, Catholic Europe again, and Italy before they ever left the United States. So whatever black influence was in Spain is now pushed out.
It was not even black. It was Muslim
Black
influence. It was the Muslims that conquered. The people they called. They had mixed. They had mixed Arabs.
Listen.
Mixed Arabs. Hold on.
I don't need to be a Moor. I'm happy being an FBA. I'm happy with my ancestors and what they put down. So
Arabs.
some of us maybe they want to be more.
They had mixed Arabs.
Thank you, Afrodamus, for that.
And mixed Arabs with North Africans like Amazigh.
Yes.
Which is the Berbers, and also they had some of those people from like Senegal region or Sudan that are mixed with Arabs. They were called Moors.
Yes.
So
that is Mexico.
The people they brought those into Spain fighting for those the Islamic people that conquered, because they even have their general Salahuddin that marched into Spain. These are Arabs, Arab Muslims. They are not, like no more. It's not the Moors that conquered. The Moors were just soldiers.
Yeah.
They're mistaking the Turkish. You see, the Turkish at that time. You see, the Turkish was even up to the Dutch territory also. You see, the Turkish were far. What they mistake as Moors sometimes can also be part of the Turkish group.
The Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, the Turkish, the Berbers and everything. After you from Senike, right?
Right.
What they call Senike that time, Senike is part of the Ghana Empire.
Right.
So if they want to do a multi by the more, they would have asked the Senike people who fought these so-called the Saudi Arabs. Would have called them
because
Saudi
the
Arabs.
kingdom went all the way close to the
that word "more," you have the word "more."
It's a generic term. A generic term. They call all of us who are black Moors.
Look at his mouth. You may mute this man, please, respectfully.
You still know your tribe, right? You still know your tribe.
Right. The word "more" is an exonym. It's not an eponym. It's an exonym. It's what the white Christian Europe calls an outside group.
Right.
So everybody who's basically at that time not white Christian Europe, you're not Christian, you're not white. You can eat. So remember, but you cannot be both. It's not one or the other. It's both. You cannot white, not Christian. You are a Moor.
It's what they call people of the Negroid race, ma'am. They called us Moors. It's a generic term.
The word Moor is a European word. That doesn't even have to do with you.
It's a blanket term. They call all of it
Christian European word.
Any of us who are Negroid. Look up Blackamoor. Look up Blackamoor in the dictionary, man. Look up Blackamoor.
With FBA or Black Americans. It's not even your ancestry. More
For
has
that
It's a
been
generic term, ma'am.
Damo, do you know the Sonike also form,
for not white
It's
Christian
not an
Guys,
it's
one
not
mic.
an
That's
eth-
Guys,
not
one mic.
new. That is
One
it's
not
mic.
not
new.
an ethnic it's not an ethnic term.
look,
It's a generic term.
the
Guys,
Sonike
Because
form
I'm
part,
going to make sure with you, Shakespeare, when he wrote Othello
guys, one mic.
is always
this
been
this
referenced
this
as a
this
black
history
man.
about the Moors, this is fake. The Sonike form part of the northern part of Nigeria. You understand it? The Sonike, let just be true, the Sonike form part of the northern part of Nigeria. The Sonike would have known much about the Moors that they're talking about because the
This
Sonike
is
started
true.
moving. Yeah, the Sonike started moving all the way for the Mediterranean coast, which is the word
Which
called
is
the
closer
Mauritius.
to
Yeah, the
Morocco.
Mauritius down when they were trying to reduce their own empires or whatever that was going on at that time. Which is Afro-Damas part of Afro-Damas know his people and know his tribe. When they say it's from the Sonike, which is these are thousands years old, and they still know much about his tribe. So the Sonike form part of the northern part of Nigeria. Well, today we will miss them all as Hausas. You
Right.
understand? Because they speak similar type of language, you know. So what we see today is the Moors would have been heavily known by the Sonike Empire. The Moors would be heavily known by the Sonike also from also the so-called Mali Empire.
Right.
They're just there like that. You understand me? So sort of I get it hard when Black Americans, because I don't know the kind of books they read or whatever is going on around them. You want to tell us Africans, we don't even attach to the Moors like that. We don't even know them. You understand me?
That
We don't
may
know.
be true, Ola. That may be true, but that's what they called us generically, meaning Caucasians. They called us Moors, anybody of the
No, they
Negroid
do not.
race.
There's no more in the Americas. There's
Look up,
there's
look
no
up,
more.
look up black or Moor in the dictionary, man. And if you get an old enough, dictionary and look up Moor, they'll tell you it means black people
Okay,
in general.
the Spanish brought Moors. The Spanish, and they are just gone done. When we're looking at the
I
United
got a dictionary from 1855 that tells you that it's just a generic term for black.
Kingdom, the United States is England. The people who colonized the Americas, the English.
Ma'am, have you ever heard the Spanish word moreno?
You are not
Moreno?
Spanish. You are 20% English.
Hold on, guys.
Thank you.
Hold
You're
on,
not
guys.
Spanish. More has nothing to
Guys,
do with you.
guys, let's do our closing statements. I just looked at the time. I want to run to the grocery store. They close early
Afrodamas.
today.
Can I just say this? What's going on with you African men, man? Aren't y'all what's happening to y'all African masculinity, man? You got women in here amongst the council of men, you know what I'm saying? Speaking amongst us, what's happening, man? Y'all getting too Americanized or what? Ola, Afrodamas.
Afrodamus, if I may share, this is action he's doing right now actually happened on Chaotic's Live, where they go ahead and they try to group themselves.
Man, why are you in a circle of men?
You see, they're trying to like just talk amongst each other. This is how they do their scheme and scams. Like they do.
Do you have a flap? Do you have a flap on the front of your?
Good cop, bad cop. They always like they come and they try to like, hey, you know what's going on here? Who is this person? They like to do good cop, bad cop, and this is what they do: to create the third party, the third boogeyman. It's either white supremacy, a cop, someone. There's always like a villain. And they're the victim, and let's get together to get rid of the villain. This is a tactic, what this guy is doing now. Like they like to create this like a buffer. Like
I don't know.
Divide and conquer. Oh, what's this? I've seen this on two other lives where one of them, or even a black woman, will try to create division. This is what they do. They will either talk badly about another black person. I've seen this and I've seen it happen to me. They will come to you in like privacy in conference and start speaking to you badly about another black person. And
they use white supremacist tactics.
Absolutely. They do this with white people too. Only white people. They can't do it with Hispanics or Asians. They can only go to a white person and speak badly about another black person. You can't do it to a Hispanic or Asian. Definitely not Asian. Like, who are you? Like, they don't get involved in that, in our stuff. But a white person will always get involved in black trauma and then use that buffer. Oh, it's not me. It's the black people. They always work together. If you are having problems with a black person, a white person is there. If you're having any issues with a white person, any abuse, harassment, a black FBA, whatever they call it.
Happy holidays. Do you think these tactics, This is plantation tactics where they've learned it and perfected it.
100%. That's why none of the rebellions, 400 years, not one rebellion.
Can I apologize to her? Can I apologize to her, Aphrodite?
Only successful rebellion, 400 years, not one. Why? Because of Jay Downs. They will always work against the other. There's always a villain. They always come in and divide and conquer before white people get involved. It will be one of them to separate their groups. That's why they never work as a collective. They're always come in to divide, conquer, demean, denigrate another black person behind the other black person's back. Then they will come together as a collective and do good cop, bad cop. Oh my God, I can't believe what's going on with you. What's happening? All these things are happening to you.
Question.
Can I apologize for her?
To Africa as well?
Thank you.
Can I apologize for her? Can I apologize to her, Aphrodite?
Wasiri have been here. He has not said anything. You know, allow him.
Okay, but I do want to apologize to her. Can I?
Don't. What are you trying to apologize for?
I just want to apologize to her and ask her, are you comfortable with the pronoun she, her? Ma'am?
We'll put you in the backstage. What's wrong with you, man? Go ahead, Wasiri. Mark is not serious. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted
I just don't want to disrespect her pronouns, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say what the sister was saying. It also refers to the continent as well. Like I said before earlier, there are over 2,000 dialects on the continent. You know, we arguing about different ethnies, little things here and there, but we need to build institutions and we need to build them fast to understand each other and unite with each other and build institutions that's going to last when we're not here. You know why? Because China is building their stuff and the Asians are coming. The European, his decline is going down. And we need to get it together. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Jay Downs, now you're closing.
I'm still trying to figure you out, Aphrodite. Sometimes I wonder if you're trolling or not with some of the things you say. You know, so I try to watch you and try to figure out if you're actually serious about a lot of stuff you say. But the verdict is not in though yet. Sometimes I think, oh, he's okay, he's just trolling. But then other times I got a question like, I don't know. It's kind of shaky there, you know. But I don't know you personally. You know, like I said, this is the internet, so you may be totally different off the internet. If I met you off the internet, you may be totally different. So you really can't judge anybody, you know, off of the internet, because these are basically avatars, you know. But it wasn't, huh?
You're looking straight at me.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, I haven't met you off of the internet. You may be a totally different person, you know.
Like, what do you think? What's wrong with me then on the internet?
Nothing's wrong with you. It's just some of the things you say. I just kind of wonder. I have to.
Like what? Like what did I say that is not true?
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's not get back into all of that.
I mean, maybe I can be better, but what did I say about most black people that is not true?
What I'm saying, just for me personally, I'm trying to figure you out. I'm just still trying to figure you out.
What
just
are you
me
trying
personally.
to figure out about?
But it's a personal. So it really doesn't matter. You got your audience and everything and all like that. So what little old me, what I think really doesn't matter. It's just a personal thing with me.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
You up here talking. I mean,
not really in the whole scheme of things. You know,
you over here.
It doesn't really matter. But
you know, attacking everyone.
But what I want to say is that it was a good panel. Well informed. Everybody seemed well informed. You know, they had good things to say. I didn't agree with. I'm sure it's a lot of things I said that you guys don't agree with. But hey, that's what commentary is. That's what it's all about.
I'm glad you came around. In fact,
but actually, seriously, I do want to apologize to Happy Holidays. I kind of let my emotions get to me a little bit. With some of the things I said, she has all right to be on the panel.
Is
You
that
know what
your
I'm saying?
Irish?
I didn't.
Is that your Irish
No, I
side?
didn't. It may be. Who knows? But anyway, I didn't. I didn't mean any disrespect. She has all right to be on the panel. And
What do you think? What do
we
you think?
appreciate.
Africans? Sometimes you put outside with your thoughts as you put think Africans have no respect for their women. Have you ever been to Africa? As sisters, some of these women lead.
I was really mostly joking. I was really mostly joking when I said that.
Women lead. There's a women leaders in Africa whereby the women lead. Sometimes the top women leaders have power like the men also. So you have never been
I
to
was
somewhere. Don't just
listen.
conclude that
Listen,
women
I was
have power.
really just joking. Yeah, I was really just joking when I said that. I don't want to make a blanket statement like that. That you guys don't respect your women. I wouldn't make a blanket statement like that.
So,
You know,
Matt, how do you see this negrology class? You enjoy it?
do I enjoy it?
The negrology, like, the professor here, Professor Damas, am I doing a
Yeah,
great job?
I mean, it's a good back and forth. And when
So,
you're
so
and
you
when
say
you're
unfair. You've never taken a rigorous class like this ever, have you?
I don't know if I would say you're fair. I could say you're good at inciting debate and argument. You're good at that. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
And it makes for good entertainment, you know,
Yeah.
and good
Well,
education.
I want you to study, if there is any racism, because that might be the next topic.
Is there any racism?
Yeah. Is there any such thing as racism?
Oh, that's going to be your next topic.
Might be the next class.
Well, I can tell you now, there will be an easy way to kind of refute that
Well,
because
now you got plenty of time
I'm
to.
just saying,
Well,
if
you
if
don't have
if
to give
if
me that answer
racism
now.
if racism doesn't exist, then that means that races don't exist. RACES.
Yeah. Well,
You can't have one. You can't have one without the other. And Caucasians have anthropologists who say that races exist.
they
RACES.
might be race hustlers.
Oh, the white anthropologists are race hustlers.
Look, it's fine. Do your research. We will be here. You just make sure you come in ready. And, I'm not talking about calling people names and all that kind of stuff, because how how you do sometimes. So,
Who did I call? Who did I call a name?
well, I don't want to repeat stuff. It's okay.
But seriously though, I do want to reiterate that I apologize to the young lady on the panel. I was
Thank you.
wrong for that. I admit that.
Thank you. We'll
Peace,
see you.
everybody.
We'll see you on the next one. Okay. Hold on.
Okay, let me. Yeah, Afrodamus, this is a good show.
You missed the
Welcome.
last one. I bet it was late night. I hope you
Yeah,
got
I
to
was
watch.
sleeping because this is Christmas.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not really sleeping. You see, what you see is what AA was saying was actually all true. I think that guy, out of the blue, just jump aside assaulting a woman. Actually, I think they have a misconception about African, or Africans a lot. They thought women don't have right in our place. Women who our culture, African culture actually is being held down by women. Women have a very powerful role in African culture. We respect them a lot.
Look, I don't mind him. He's got
You don't just come.
he's
You
got
don't
a
come
pancake brain.
yeah, come just start insulting. I've never seen where an African man start insulting a woman in any panel even.
Right.
That's just I don't understand, man. It's okay. It's a powerful show. It's a show that we just have to be telling them the truth, which is they don't have to run away. You see that divide, and that's a white man because that's a white in them. You understand me?
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, it's if you watch them out, it's always with them, and that style will always be with them. It's not their fault, but it's part of their DNA. You understand me? That just the part of what it is. You can change it, and I'm still saying it. Why they have high level of Africans inside them have something to do with the Haitians and the Jamaicans that come later part. You understand me? The Jamaicans, the Haitians, they brought later part to the southern part of United States. That's what most of them have, about 80, maybe 90. This high number came from these Jamaicans that they brought in later. For them alone, man, they will be mixed up with people that brought them. And the white man never actually lie. Where they took some of these women from and some of these men from, that the west coast of Africa, and they, if you go over there, they're just all there. Majority of these black women, they're from over there. Igbo, Senegalese, Senegambians, Ghana, and all these people. That's where they took them from. You can see that they have African future in them. They have Africans in them, but their blood is also have a white in them also. You can't change it. It's part of the DNA. I think they should embrace it, celebrate it, and not come and lie to us that they hate they are part of them. Might be because of what happened, but back you going to report to the white man.
Yeah.
This African man insult me. Can you deal with him for me? You understand me? Like a child going to meet the teacher or his father. Help me, dad. This guy is chasing after me. So that's just the way it is. We just have to stand by the truth, but they can never bully us and they want us to be quiet. That's what they're pissed. Why they're pissed is like they be bullying Africans for about 5 years before we start actually retaliating to them like, hey, now they're pissed at us like, oh, okay, who dare you? Why you say this? No, you say, man, you per say this first, say, oh no, but we just joking. But you say back to them, it's not a joke, So we just have to let them understand, we can be friends, but we're not family. That's just the truth. We're not family. We can be friends.
Mac, you heard that. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you,
Okay.
Ola. We'll see you on the
Yeah.
next one. All right. AA, go ahead. Closing statement.
Afrodamus, well done. Thank you. I really appreciate how you gave me a moment to use your platform to speak.
Absolutely.
I greatly appreciate that. One thing that it's always mindful to remember is that, as I discussed, they are one. This is one group that they are always going to be together. White America knows they cannot continue this country without Black America. Oh, they know that. Black America does not want White America to go. Black America has no issue with White America. When we're hearing these words, especially when you're an outsider, white supremacy, like their issue, you see how they use very general terms,
Right.
very high level general terms when they speak to white people and the problems they have with white people, you never truly understand it. Of course, when you're seeing the majority of this group who come from just two tribes, Senegal, Gambia, that is all Spanish, Portuguese, French. That's them together. The English, the Dutch, that German ancestry, that is that is Black America. That is all they are. They only got more African mixed after the United States was established. Angola, that's after the United States that was established. Louisiana is not original America. Louisiana was annexed into the United States. So all of Black America was already created and made. They just brought in more slaves because the slave trade ended. So they go to Haiti because now they have new territory. That doesn't change who they are in their history. They've always been together. And like Ola said, they will go to a white person to go after you. There has never been a union. Just like Ola said, because no longer do people want to deal with their abuse and their chaos. Now there's a problem because you can't bully someone for money, for resources, plus the jobs issue. Their jobs is not high level, high income, 80,000 plus. As you're progressing immigrant, you're progressing Black immigrant, you're going to eventually leave. You're going to move into probably a majority white zip code. Your children will not go to schools with them. Your children will go to private schools. There is a natural delineation that already occurs. When they say, oh, we're going to leave, they're not going anywhere. They're going to continue harassing Africans. They're going to really Black immigrants. And it's just going to continue. So that is all I really wanted to say. And also, I put into your link some information regarding the definition of slavery in the United States in the 13 colonies. Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Virginia, is the first legislative body in colonial America. So there already was like a quote unquote, like a Congress in the states. Virginia is who decided slavery. And that's another history I can tell you, because
Yeah,
remember,
we'll touch that in another.
absolutely. Remember, there was no slave in the beginning. They actually created a law to define slave and to define it in perpetuity. So that until 1865, then they decided with the, of course, the amendments to take away slavery. But they knew what they were doing. They established white America with white women, and they established slave through the Black woman. There's so much to say, but you have a wonderful holidays.
Thank you. Happy Christmas.
Ola, happy holidays to you and your family, Ola. Thank you very much. And to all of you in the live chat, all of you, so wonderful. You all, thank you so much. And
Thank
to you too, FBA.
Enjoy.
You'll do fine. You too as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, let me read some of the super chats here. Forgive me, super chatters. Guys, feel free to hit the super chat, the like. It helps the cause keep going. Let's see, my soap, I want to thank you for your super chats. He said, pre-1980s, Blacks owned 14% of American farmland. Now only 2% due to corrupt legislation and targeted immigration influx. This is true. A lot of Blacks, actually, he's right about that. They lost a lot of farmlands, but even like right now, like the Joe Biden administration, they were, literally creating some type of shenanigans. Lots of farmers, including whites as well, losing their farmlands. So I'm not surprised that the Blacks were targeted to lose the farmlands. My soap goes on again. He said, the truth is, we live in a society where over 70% of the population is obese. McDonald's burgers, and only 26% of college graduates can read. History has never seen anything like that. 100% correct. This is why you see people today, they tell you, oh, I'm educated. I got 13 degrees, but they cannot even read properly, or whatever they're reading, they cannot comprehend it. So you are right. Merry Christmas, Connie. Connie, thank you. Oh, I've already read that. Supergirl, thank you for the super chat. And my soap said close to 3,000 different ethnic groups in Africa. Yeah, Africa is pretty vast. So that's the end of the super chats. And this is bringing us towards the end of the show. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. And, feel free to leave your comments. I mean, you have to understand this is, for edutainment purposes. If you are new here, this is your first time in Negrology 101, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully you would be one of the students who would leave this class with A++. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm out.
Lend thy ears to the Afridamers. Pay attention to the Afridamers. The true Soninke warrior. Naturalist his intelligence. As a true professor. Solution to brainwash diseases. Sit back, relax, and hear the wisdom. Afridamers will heal your minds. Sit back, reflect, you'll find no objection. Afridamers will clear your doubts here. Always log on to the Afridamers. Lend thy ears to the Afridamers is the truth and